Our final session of the group stages starts now and is sure to feature a goal bonanza after Group C saw 69 go in yesterday. And, well, Group D, I have one name for you. Anders. That's what the fans have been shouting here in Riyadh, and he absolutely loves it. That's what you get from this, the FIFAe World Cup. It's been such a party vibe, guys, here if you haven't joined us all day so far. Groups A and B once again went down to the final matchup, and I'm sure it's going to be the same in Group C and D, which gets started now with Brandon and Richard joining me as always on the couch to talk through the drama, which, guys, I know is going to unfold here this evening, because that's exactly what FIFA Esports has in store for us time and time again. Brandon, I'll start with you first, because the story so far for me in Group C, correct me if I'm wrong, is #Stokes. He's sitting there in the bottom half of the table. Can I read a tweet that he put out yesterday as well? He said, in part of the games, I'm the worst player ever to play the game, but I recovered and the road to the top 4 in the group is still on. Sorry for those of you watching some of the stuff I'm putting you guys through. 6 points, a new day tomorrow. Obviously, he tweeted that last night. I mean, he's apologising to the fans and the group stages aren't even finished yet.
I mean, look, he's got an incredible community as Stokes, and you can understand the passion of why it wasn't going well yesterday. We spoke to Stokes yesterday, me and Rich in the hotel. We said, look, I don't know why, but for the first 3 games yesterday, I just couldn't play FIFA. There was moments where he could ball roll around the goalkeeper, and it just wasn't clicking. Those normal sort of muscle memory moments weren't clicking for him. But then he picked up 2 wins on the bounce to conclude day 1, and I think he comes into day 2 a little bit more confident. Being
a #player, Rich, he has the fans, doesn't he? And he just knows how to excite the fans, if they're fans of his or not.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I mean, for Stokes, over the last 24 months, he's cultivated an audience. He's been growing this social media platform, and he's even bringing sort of people out who might not even watch FIFA esports that much. I think I saw former runner-up, Xbox runner-up in 2018, Kurt, having a little watch just to see Stokes in action. He's dynamite, is Stokes, and I really look forward to seeing what he does today.
If you are new to FIFA Esports, watch his matchups. He's going to score a lot of goals, and I hate to say it, he might concede a lot as well. Anyway, let's move on from Stokes and have a look at the standings, because we've teased you, haven't we, with Group C already. Johnny then. Well, he had quite the day yesterday. 10 points there. He was the top goal scorer as well, with 15 next to his name. I said 69 goals came from Group C, and obviously he scored quite a lot of them. RVP legend then got off to a blistering start, ended the day on 9 points. He got those 2 losses, didn't he, to round out the second day. Oberon, 8 points. K1 John, the player from Egypt who plays in North America, 6 points for him, and 6 points from Stokes, the player we were just talking about. Paolo Neto, I wish Mike was here to talk about him. 4 points, because we know how well he did as well, guys. Last year, he topped his table in the group stages. Not sure what's gone wrong for him, Rich.
Yeah, he's been disappointing. I mean, I've watched a lot of Paolo Neto. He's not played that well. Like, he's been quite disappointing, it has to say. When you look at the other side of it, a man who has not disappointed at all. 13 points in that group. In that particular group is truly remarkable. I saw a lot of people talking on social media yesterday like, this kid just is unreal. Like, the fact that you go into that group, ECL winner, E-Nations Cup winner, Manu Bashaw, Nicholas, and you're picking 13 points out of 15, it blows the mind.
You obviously saw there as well, Yilmaz PH's in, and then Manu Bashaw, and then Richard mentioned him. Nicholas is sitting in a spot possibly about to get eliminated. That is the story of Group D. We can talk about Anders until the cows come home. Let's talk about Nicholas, a runner-up here in this competition last year. At the moment, Brandon, can we talk about him going out?
I mean, it could happen, but I don't think it will happen. I mean, look, Nicholas had a very difficult run last year at the E World Cup.
Who's he knocking out then, Brandon?
Turned it around. He's only 1 win away from getting back into the race already for me.
The big game for me is game 1. Round 1 in particular, he plays against Anders Vergan. You imagine, on form, Anders Vergan wins. Manu Bashaw, who he is chasing, plays Damien. If Manu Bashar wins, he goes 5 points clear of Nicholas. 5 points in this group could be too big to overturn.
Nicholas yesterday as well, he kept saying he deserved to win a lot of the games he lost. He's got to change those deserving into actually winning here today, Brandon. That's not good enough. And you kind of say, yeah, Nicholas has got to go through, but all the players above him have got to go through as well.
They do, but they're not Nicholas. They're not Nicholas, trust me.
No, they're not. They're Yilmaz, PH Zin.
I say now,
Manu Bashar.
Damien plus Manu Bashar or PH Zin goes out of this group. Nicholas goes through.
What's up? Potentially 3 out of the 6.
A world champion goes out and PH Zin.
Obviously not Emre Yilmaz or Anders Vergang.
I don't know. I think he's got a big ask, has Nico. He didn't particularly show it yesterday, and coming into today, every single fixture is a battle.
It is, and talking of fixtures, Rich, let's have a look then. We've teased you a really big one in Group D. We'll start, of course, with Group C. RVP Legend at the moment is sitting second in that group. He takes on Paulo Neto, the Brazilian, remember, who was part of that Brazilian winning team from Saturday evening when he won the E-Nations Cup. He's bottom of the table. He topped his group last year. Oberon takes on Stokes and K1 John takes on table topper Johnny. Let's have a look at Group D, round 6 then. PH Zin also in that Brazil squad who won just a couple of days ago. He's a newly crowned world champion, back-to-back world champion. He takes on Emre Yilmaz, E-Champions League champion. So many champions coming up here. Manu Bashar, his teammate, takes on Damsheet, the person who knocked out Vergang when he was doing that ridiculous amount of weekend league wins there. And he takes on Nicholas. There's too many champions in one group there. I don't know where to look, what to talk about next. Brandon's lost for words once because he can't even call this. None of us can.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, you'll never see a group like this again. In FIFA esports history, you will never see a group this stacked again. It's just full, as you said, of so many winners, so many big-name players. It's going to be ridiculously hard to work out who tops the group, who comes top 4, who plays against who in Group B.
Manu Bashar, like he said yesterday, he needs the win over his teammate. That was probably where he lost a couple of points there as well, getting that draw. Rich, a chance for him to kind of not lose his bottle. He looked a little bit kind of stressed out after all the stages were completed yesterday.
I had the opportunity to catch up with him actually in the hotel as well, and he was annoyed by himself. He knew there were a lot of games there that points just slipped through his fingers, and he has, with a capital H, to start today strong. If he can pick up 3 points here against Damien, it's a must-win game for him. Just puts that pressure on Nicholas below him, and potentially just keeps him at arm's length.
And this, we can't really say that in this group, but this is possibly that game to start things off in the correct way. Damien, when we spoke to him yesterday, said he didn't feel he did much wrong. Ooh! As a chance just goes missing there. Didn't really do that much wrong. He didn't really, Brandon, did he? I mean, just couldn't convert.
I mean, he got 1 point. I mean, the crazy thing is he got 1 point, but he drew against Anders.
That doesn't really tell the whole story, does it?
No, it doesn't. He was the only player that Anders did not beat. I mean, Anders won 4 games yesterday, drew one of them, but I mean, Damien can say that all he wants. He was grouped last year in Copenhagen. He needs a serious turn of form today if there's any chance of him even being in the conversation for a top 4.
Yeah, Damien definitely someone that's looking to turn his fortunes around. The games are starting now as we kick off the round of 16. We've had our first goal as well of this competition so far in round 6. Let's go and see which game it came from.
Well then, the goal came from this game here. It was RVP Legend who won this game 4-0 yesterday. Looking to showcase that same run of form again as we jump over to Manu Bashar against Damien. Still 0-0 at the moment. That game yesterday, Manu Bashar won 3-2, and as we say that, Anders Vergang against Nicholas has just kicked off. Anders Vergang won that one 2-1 yesterday.
When you look at this particular matchup here with Manu Bashir and Damesheet, they both know each other so well, both Dutch FIFA players, play in the same circles a lot of the time as well. Damesheet can do this, Damien can do it, he can turn this around. I mean, he's shown the level, just getting here, just getting to the FIFAe World Cup shows that he has the level to perform. Just done himself no favours on day one, picking up 1 point and everybody above you seemingly picking up their stride. We often talk about Nicholas and his performances. The reason he is the Iceman is pretty self-explanatory. He keeps cool under pressure and he does perform to the very highest of levels. And even when he's not playing well, he seems to win those 50-50 games. I just don't know if he's going to be able to win enough 50-50 games in this group.
Yeah, he'll have the confidence, of course he will, because he's been to so many of these massive, massive tournaments. But, as we've discussed over the course of the last couple of weeks, the level of player has increased this year, especially.
There's no easy win in this
group. And
especially
because the amount of players has gone down to 24 as well.
I think in this group in particular, sometimes it might be Damien, and that feels really harsh for me to say that, but typically in a group you'd have one, maybe two players that you fancy yourself against. And Nicholas will fancy himself against anybody in this group, but on paper, you're probably looking at a lot of draws in this particular matchup between Emre Yilmaz. Vergang might take 3 points against you. And then you've only got maybe 2 games left to play for. You've only got 6 points on the line. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I said it yesterday, sat on this exact couch. I think day one is, out of any of the groups, out of any of the tournaments we've seen here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, is more important in this particular group than any other.
Rich, you know what I'd like? I'd like Brandon to predict who's going out, because he predicted Abu Maka going out, and where did he finish, Brandon?
Predicted Mike J going through as well. How did that go?
What happened? Do I just tell everyone?
Abu Maka top of the group, and Mike J is on the plane home back to Australia.
Maybe you say something about Damien here and it might go through.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He also predicted Nicholas to win the tournament.
Hence why I'm on the Nicholas agenda.
Sorry, Brandon, we love you, really. Anyway, Oberon Stokes has started. I told you to keep an eye on Stokes as well, didn't I? It's going to be entertaining FIFA.
I tell you what, Rachel, Damien might have heard you. Damien up against Manu Bashir. There's been a goal in that one. 35 minutes on the clock. What has happened over in that game? He had 1 point all day yesterday. And I tell you what, he may have ended Anders Vergang's streak. He might be able to end his group run streak with a performance like this, leading by a goal to do against Manu Bashir.
Do we have a Brandon Smith curse? Or a cure, shall we say, that started to go around?
Should we send him home early, Rich?
Yeah, 1-0. Damesheet leading against Manu Bashir. As for Oberon and Stokes, this was a cracker yesterday. 0-0 so far, but we're only 10 minutes into the game. Let's see if we're creating here anything. Just going to clear his lines and make sure you keep an eye on Stokes throughout this tournament. He is guaranteed box office FIFA.
We said another massive matchup as well. We said PH's in, didn't we? Yilmaz, obviously it's 2. Oh, this is another world champion here against Nicholas. This is our massive matchup. We've been teasing everyone with this, and it was pretty exciting as well yesterday. Vergang did get that win in the end.
This is the box office one, isn't it? Anders Vergang against Nicholas. What a game. I looked in the FIFA archives on land this year. Anders Vergang has only lost 2 games of FIFA. One was against Oberon in the E-Champions League, and Emre Yilmaz was the other one in the ECL final. He's never lost to Nicholas on land in a 1v1 tournament. They matched yesterday, and they matched in the E-Champions League.
Beaten twice has Anders Vergang, and he was trailing yesterday. Nico went 1-0 up, and then Anders got 2 goals to turn the tie around. If Nicholas needs to get a win, he needs to get it right now. And what a win it would be, starting the tournament with a win against the top player in your group, picking up 3 points and starting to just squeeze the players ahead of you.
How do you think, Brandon, Nicholas views Anders?
Probably thinks he's a bit annoying from some of the games he's had to play against him. I mean, I guess he looks at him as this new wave of FIFA talent that, you know, Tex was describing, that's come through, that's so dominant, so so sort of careless in some ways. Doesn't really care if you're a big name, you've done this, you've been to X amount of World Cups. You know, there's so much money on the line nowadays, Rachel, that it's going to attract these younger players that come through that have naturally got more time on their hands, and they're just more hungry, you could argue, to go and win these big tournaments. And to see that performance that we saw from Anders Vergang yesterday in this group is just ridiculous. You know, brushing past household names in FIFA, in the FIFA scene, was ridiculous.
I think you summed that up perfectly. Yeah, most players think Anders is annoying.
I also, not necessarily, it's just the reaction as well. It feels like he's not taking you seriously. Like when he's celebrating, when he's clapping you scoring, it's like, I'm trying my absolute best, and this 17-year-old is playing at like 50%. He's looking around, he's turning around to his coach, he's playing up to the fans. He's doing anything but concentrate on the game, and he's still beating me.
I'd say he's a little bit cheeky as well, which we kind of secretly love, because he just plays up to it. He's enjoying it so much. He's enjoying the journey which he's on, and he's on a pretty good journey so far.
0-0 in this one, 20 minutes in. Anders Vergang against Nicholas. You were right to say yesterday, Richard, it was Anders that went 1-0 down in the tie, ended up turning it around 2-1. As we said, was the most convincing play yesterday across all the groups. 13 points from 15 in total. Unbeaten, 4 wins, 1 draw. Here is Nicholas, who goes from a shot from quite far out. Always was asking a lot of the goalie.
I would love to have a little look as well at PH in Yilmaz. It's approaching half-time, but I feel that's a pretty big matchup as well, and we were talking about it being a get your own back yesterday for Yilmaz over PH Zin. PH Zin, obviously the world champion from a couple of days ago in the E-Nations, but his first time here, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's sort of just gone quite quietly in this group. He's mid-table. He's not been super impressive, but he's also picked up points on this journey throughout. And I think, obviously, in the 2v2, he's been mightily impressive. 1v1, he were at the playoffs last year. Everyone expected him to be what we see today, but pressure, nerves did play a factor. He's won everything he can in South America, so I'm not surprised that I think he could very well be the next export over into Europe. He's obviously already with Ajax, but he still plays from South America, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially if he was to have a good performance here at the E-World Cup, if he starts to think about what European life could look like. We did have a second goal, just to keep you up to date with everything that's happening, especially in Group D. Damien Damesheet, 2-0 up versus Manu Bashir. We counted him out, but he's not going down without a fight.
Might just be on for his first win as we catch the highlights of that game now. Damesheet, as he was mostly known for after taking down Anders Vergang's unbeaten streak, leading 2-0 against Manu Bashir, who we have to say scored 14 goals yesterday, I believe, but conceded 15 of them. Was scoring plenty, but also leaking so many goals. Here's Nicholas. Big save from Anders Vergang's goalkeeper. So far, Nicholas has actually been pretty decent these first 40 minutes, Rich.
He was good yesterday, though, as well, and just couldn't quite convert the result in his favour.
Well, this one is, as we expected it to be, a little bit cagey here. 5 minutes left. Nicholas needs to find something. Good save there from Nicholas. Was a little bit tame, but a chance all the same from Anders. PH in Yilmaz then. This was the one that I was excited to see.
Yeah, Emre Yilmaz finding his feet to try and win this game again. He won it 2-1 yesterday in the first round of play. He does sit in second place as it stands in this group. 10 points yesterday. Only lost one game. That was to Anders Vergang. Remember that they did play also in the Champions League final, where Emre Yilmaz went on to win that tournament, beating Anders Vergang on his way through.
Well, this one then looks like we're about to get the whistle blown on half-time in our feature matchup. Anders nil, not happy with that. Of course he's not, he loves to win. He's just having a couple of heated words with Daniel, his coach, and Nicholas then maybe quite happy about keeping that one at the moment without letting Anders score. Then this one, Johnny was, or is I should say, topping that group heading into the second day, and K1 John in a good position as it stands.
Well, it's the battle of the Johns over here yesterday when they played. We saw Johnny really announce himself onto the FIFA World stage. He's had quite an interesting end to his FIFA career. Cuts the ball back across, finds a breakthrough. But back to his storyline, he pretty much peaked at the right time. Virtual Bundesliga, where he knocked out the current world champion in Umar, who isn't even at this FIFAe World Cup. Then went into the play-ins, where 4 players from 64 booked a spot for the playoffs. Then went into the playoffs and became one of the 24 who are in the FIFAe World Cup. So to get to this stage, he was basically battling against the odds constantly. And the fact he's put in this performance, Rachel, just speaks volumes of how good this German player really is.
We were talking a little bit about that one as well, weren't we? Paolo Neto, their RVP legend. Paolo Neto, Mike said he was going to turn up at round 3 yesterday. He needs to turn up on day 2 if he's to get through as well. The Romanian, though, has been quite the standout player so far. Well, Oberon Stokes. I kind of teased you guys with fireworks from this one, and it's a little bit boring, to say the least, guys.
Yeah, it's not exploded into life as of yet. However, this could be a chance for Oberon if he gets there in front of the goalkeeper. It's come a long way. And I think for Stokes, obviously yesterday he started quite poorly, picked up a couple of wins towards the end of the day. He'd be relatively happy with a draw to start the day. I would imagine if you can get a winner, obviously he would take it, but you start with 1 point, goes on to 7. When I spoke to him earlier today, he said 2 wins and a draw pretty much would be enough to go through. That would be 13 points, and he'd be happy to take that.
The Oberon yesterday caught with him late last night and just said, look, it wasn't the most polished day in the office in the group stages. 8 points he did get. I mean, it's more than half the points he needed. He got top 4 last year in the World Cup, but there were 6 goals in this game yesterday. So it looks like it's not going to be a 6-goal thriller this time round.
I'm taking this as a positive from Stokes, right? The fact that he is a little bit more defensive now, because we saw him scoring the goals, but he could not save many, and that's kind of where he came unstuck as we go back to this one, which is also 0-0.
Very interesting there. You see Anders not in a typical 4-4-2, running the 5-back, 5-4-1, the formation of choice. I know he was testing a 5-back here and there. He played it against Emre Yilmaz in their matchup. Very rarely we ever see him out of a back 4 in that 4-4-2 formation, but just showing a little bit more defensive work.
I think that's maybe why you were shouting at Daniel there. Daniel was saying,
well,
why?
Daniel might have told him to play in the 5 as well.
Yeah, possibly.
It could be the fact of Anders going, look what's happening when I play in a back 5. I'm not playing very well.
We'll have to get Spen to ask that question, won't we, from Daniel. Did Daniel make the tactical changes, or was it Anders?
I think Anders is very much one of those players, like if he's just sitting around him when he's playing, you're probably getting the blame for something that isn't currently going his way. Had a great chance there. Big save from Nicholas. Still 0-0 in our blockbuster fixture. Got to keep in mind, it makes things very interesting if Damien can see out a lead that he did have. He was leading 2-0 against Manu Bashir. That game is in the closing stages. If we can go and see how it's ending, because if Damien wins this game, he'll be on 4 points. If Nicholas stays in a drawing position, he'll be on 5 points. If Hannes Vergaan was to go and win the game, they'll both be on 4 points. This is in added time now, 90 minutes on the clock. And we are looking at Damien picking up his first win in the tournament. I mean, what a way to start day 2 against Manu Bashir.
Brandon, I told you to say something about Damien, and it might actually just work out. As we see, RVP legend as well gets another goal against Paolo Neto.
RVP, when you looked at the group yesterday, obviously that wasn't taken into consideration Paolo Neto's poor start. He hardly won the 3 hardest games in the group and then lost the games versus K1 John and Stokes, who were 5th and 6th. So he could be one of those players that when he feels as though he's playing against real tough opposition, not saying that K1 John or Stokes aren't, but in his mind, a much harder game, he plays up. And when he maybe, similar to what Tex was saying a couple of days ago, when he's playing against someone that maybe he thinks he should be beating, he comes down. And if you're coming down to Stokes and Stokes is going up, Stokes is beating you. So it is a very interesting debate. When I spoke to RVP as well this morning, before we set off from the hotel. He said, "Richard, I should have got 15 yesterday. I'm getting 15 today." Very confident young man.
Well, he would be the only person to get 15 points. Obviously, that means he's unbeaten. He wins them all in one day of FIFA here.
Back to this one. Our main featured matchup here. Anders Vergang against Nicholas. Anders Vergang still unbeaten in his first ever FIFAe World Cup. And he's had a long time, and such as all of these players, a long time to wait to get going today. I'm sure he's played relentless games of ping pong on the build-up. He beat me early today, shushed me. Every celebration under the sun came my way. I won't be playing him again in a hurry.
We heard that, didn't we? The players are loving the ping pong here in the players' warm-up area, and that maybe just keeps their competitive edge going when these technical problems have been happening as well, Rich.
Big goal there for Oberon. 10 minutes left to play against Stokes. You talk about sort of waiting. It was scheduled, 8 p.m. local time, this kick-off, so you've got a couple of hours there where you're having to time the practice to the right time. You don't want it to peak too early. If you play too many practice games, you might get worn out towards the end of the group standings as well. So there's a real sort of knack to making sure you get the right amount of practice, that you're not cold, but you're not overplaying as well, that you're eating at the right time, that you're making sure that you're prepared coming into this 5 rounds of fixtures. And you probably didn't even think of this, but you might be playing pretty late here in Riyadh as well. You could be playing 11:30, 12 midnight local time. Tiredness, fatigue, all these factors could play into this Group C and D final results.
Well, this is a good result for Nicholas. I know we don't really want him to get a draw. Anders isn't going to be happy if it stays like this.
No, by any means. He just strives for perfection in all ways in his FIFA matches. But a point could be huge if we look at the end of it today. Last 3 in-game minutes for Anders Vergang or Nicholas to try and snatch all 3 points from this game. Looks as if Anders Vergang will be working into the final chance. Nicholas. Not enough to just see this one out. A big point on the board it would be for him after a slow start to play yesterday. Losing in this very matchup. Anders will get the last chance of the game. Any time to come in any second now of just 1 minute. The ball has to move. Anders still looking for a way through. Unable to do so. Big point on the board for Nicholas.
I love just watching these reactions. Anders, where is he going?
He's doing the 100-metre dash. Just sprinted out of the venue.
I mean, that says a lot, doesn't it? If he was happy, he would have stayed. He would have chatted. Nicholas is going probably to find Anders, and he maybe doesn't know that he's raced off. I'm sure he will go and have a quick word with Daniel there. He does. He congratulates him all the time, doesn't he?
He might just have to handshake the controller or something. He's not there at the moment.
Daniel, pass on my regards.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. But anyway, that is a little bit of an insight into Anders there. He is unpredictable, to say the least. A draw is never good enough for the guy who really, really asks a lot from him every single time he plays. Well, that was Group D, the group of death, the most competitive group we've ever had assembled here at a World Cup. Anders gets 1 point and puts himself on 14. Very disappointed he will be with that game.
He will be. And I think when you look at the other results in this group, I think Emre Yilmaz was still underway and a couple of technical difficulties. That game will be concluded very shortly. He could start to creep up on Anders Vergang as well. Emre Yilmaz is the closest competitor. At the bottom end of the table, massive 3 points for Damesheet against Manu Bashar. That puts him on to 4. Nicholas is around there. Manu Bashar's around there. PH Zin's around there as well. So I would say, genuinely, from 3rd to 6th, anyone can go through.
Rich, it's 7, 6, 5, 4. They've all been drawn in to that battle, haven't they?
I said one win or maybe 2 in a row could change the game. Back to your point about Anders, look, I know he's annoyed because he just strives for perfection, but he hasn't. Nicholas hasn't beaten this year still on paper. I know it's a draw, and I'll be thinking, oh, I've dropped a game there, but it's only a draw. He's still unbeaten in the group stages, and look, that group is getting very, very tight now.
And talking about, I guess, groups that are getting a bit cagey, it's very cagey at the top as well of Group C. RVP Legend, he's got 12 points. Johnny and Oberon both on 11. And again, it's making it really, really tight at the bottom of that group as well. Palanetto is on 4, but he's not completely out of it because players around him haven't picked up particularly any points. Stokes didn't there, still on 6. And then K1 John on 7.
I just think for Paolo Neto, I would be more worried that the performances aren't there. It's not necessarily the results, he's just not playing well. He's not scoring goals, he's conceding a lot. What we saw in the E-Nations Cup was he's coming off the bench and he's changing the game. He's free-flowing, he's scoring goals, he's playing well. This tournament right now, I've watched a lot of Paolo Neto this year. I've watched him all over, from Argentina to the Here East Arena. He has not played well. This is the worst he has played this tournament through the entire calendar year.
12 points still remaining today, though. If you look at what happened earlier, that's all I'm saying. Montaxa would probably written him off at the beginning of the day, and he goes through in dramatic fashion. Stranger things have happened, Brandon.
I mean, look at Palanetto's next game. You know, nothing against K1 John, but on paper, he won it yesterday. He should win that. Again, he beat him 5-2. But you're right, I don't know what it is. Palanetto isn't clicking in the 1v1 environment, which is weird for someone who's played this tournament so much, does get to the knockout so often, and has such good success in 1v1.
Topped his group last year. It's not happening this year. Sorry, Paolo.
I think players will take kind of heart from what they saw a little bit earlier on. The likes of massive names like Yuval going out does really give them kind of hope that anything is possible here. They go, oh yeah, he was ranked #1 in Europe, he's going through, and then he just drops out of the competition in the group stages.
It's a great example, isn't it? You can be dominant for months upon months in the global series, and then you come to a 2-day, or it could be a 3, or it could be a 4-day FIFA tournament. If you're not clicking and it's not working well, then it's game over.
Well, Palanetto is going to start clicking, hasn't it? Very soon. Obviously, we had a couple of problems we just saw there. He's up against, like Brandon said, K1 John, the free agent. If he gets through tomorrow, will he not be a free agent anymore? Will teams start knocking at his door?
You probably imagine so. I think we talked about Yuval going out, giving people sort of like confidence that anything can happen, that you can go through. I also think for Paolo Neto, it worries him a little bit more that, well, if Yuval can't go through, #1 seed in Europe, the guy that everyone has been talking about this year, he's been unbelievable online, he's won a qualifier. Paolo Neto, he was lifting a trophy 3 days ago. Anyone can go out. If you don't play well, people will take points off you, and the performance level, unfortunately, for Paolo Neto just hasn't quite been there.
Right, well, the games have started. This is the final game, isn't it, that we didn't get to see. This is Group D. PH is in Yilmaz here. 15 minutes still left to play on this one. Yilmaz yesterday finished with 10 points there, and he did keep the scoreline like this, didn't he, Brandon, as well?
He did, and this is a good result for Nicholas, or anyone in that sort of bottom 4 rat race, you can say, because look, PH will stay on the same points. Emre Yilmaz and Anders, will smooth out the conversation. They will move out the conversation naturally. Yilmaz, Anders, for me, their search, they're on their way through as that too. It's the bottom 2 spots that are going to be, as you said, up for grabs. What, 4, 5, 6, 7 points is how 6th, 5th, 4th and 3rd does look in the group of death, as we've called it. 10 minutes left to be played here. It's the Champions League winner still in the driving seat.
Yeah, and PH's in as well. We had a little bit of a conversation about it. Maybe he's just, not that he's not good at this, but he's so good at 2v2 as well, isn't he?
He is. I mean, look at the resume. It's 2 back-to-back E-Nations Cup victories that we'll never see consistency like that in that tournament from him, who was the catalyst in the team. PH in the box, looking for a way back into the tie. Will give a goal kick and nothing more. But yeah, absolutely. Had a disappointing E-World Cup. Last time we saw him in the playoffs, it was actually last year, was in the playoffs, didn't qualify for the E-World Cup, I beg my pardon. Did qualify for the E-World Cup in the year that it didn't take place. So for him, this is a chance to really show what he can do on the world stage. And as Richard said, many have regarded him as the next big thing, the next top FIFA player. He is not starting here, as he needs to go on if there's any way of him getting out this group.
I think the only thing you have to look at in terms of what PH's in, how good he is and the quality he has, a title-winning side in 2022, he was the only sole survivor in that sort of decision process coming into 2023. And he kept Paulo Neto, who has won everything in North America, out of the team, and it's for reasons just quite like that. Just sublime FIFA in the final third, passing the ball into an empty net, and he makes the game, when he is on form, not only look beautiful to watch, but look really, really straightforward.
Only a couple of minutes left in this, and we go to this quick pause in the game. 2-2, PH Zin and Yilmaz. Well, the next round then has already kicked off. This is the game that's underway. It's RVP Legend. He's been excellent so far in Group C. He tops that one. And he's now up against Oberon, who is sitting in third position. But this, though, is the final moments then in the first round of Group D between these two players. PH Zin just got an equaliser to peg back Emre Yilmaz. And that is it. 2-2. 1 point apiece there. PH Zin will be delighted with that result in his first fixture, which he lost this same fixture yesterday. Right, well, this is the 7th round of fixtures then that has kicked off in Group C. I just teased this one, didn't I? RVP Legend, your table topper at the moment, taking on third place, the Italian Oberon. Let's hand over then to Alex B and Aggie to take you through these fixtures.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rachel. We are here for RVP Legend Oberon up in Group C. You join myself, Alex, and Aggie to bring you all of that action. RVP Legend starting the day off, as he did yesterday, Aggie, with that victory in the previous game, and goals galore, which has been doing so much throughout this group stage.
Yeah, both players had a perfect start to day 2 here, and are basically playing, or they are looking after that first place in the group, just fighting for that place together with Johnny as well. So a vital match here in Group C, as well in Group D, where we saw drama, late drama, and Damien responding. So everything is open so far, Alex.
Everything is open indeed, and RVP Legend came out today saying he wants 15 points. That was his goal yesterday. He just fell short of that after picking up back-to-back losses for the last 2 games, but he has looked confident throughout. Oberon, on the other hand, though, it's kind of, so far, just tickled along, sitting in that 3rd position in that group. You would argue, if he can get a result in this next game against RVP Legend, or in that 3rd game, he'd also be looking very, very confident. Oberon, how have you made his performances so far throughout the group stage?
Slow and steady wins the race. Just follow this, see if RVP Legend can do something, but Oberon just gets back there, and I think Oberon has been doing great. I mean, not perfect, but great. Don't have to peak yet in this competition, but was always in those top 4 spots. Never questioning him. With just a point here, or even three would definitely secure him. Even 1 point, I think both players would be pretty satisfied with that.
That they would. RVP Legend just building up into this last attack on the stroke of half-time. RVP Legend let go of Team Hullet this time last year at the end of the season. He was a free agent and then picked up by Zeal. To see him at the World Cup, he's a player which we've known has had that quality. He's a player which I've been very impressed with so far as well. If you didn't know, what does he like to do? He likes to go forward, he likes to score goals, and he puts attack after attack. He is the 2nd highest goal scorer throughout this tournament so far, just closely behind Johnny in Group C, with them two looking to battle that out for that top spot to give themselves the best possible seeding as we move up into the knockout stages. Oberon, on the other hand, though, will have something to say about it as he looks to build up. He drives that one into the 18-yard box. Van Dijk stands strong, and that is going to be all square in at half-time. Just so we can see how round 6 finished up for you. Group C, RVP Legend sat in that top position with 12 points. Johnny and Oberon all square there with 11 points and goal difference, just separating that. K1 John, the only free agent in this tournament, as it stands, makes it into that top 4. Stokes and Paolo Neto with a lot of work to do to find themselves into that. Paolo Neto topped the group last year. This time he finds himself at the opposite end of the table. Moving over to Group D, we see Anders Versgang, a player which Aggie knows so well, who put in arguably one of the most dominant performances throughout a group stage at the World Cup. And Emery Yilmaz has also as well putting in a show for us. PH Sin takes that 3rd spot, Manu Bachor, and then Nicholas, who picked up that vital point against Anders Versgang to keep himself in the race. And then Damien. Dame Sheet was sat on 1 point when he came in today. That victory against Manu changes things massively in Group D.
I believe he had to win that in order to keep his hopes alive of making it through from the group of that, and he did. In a fancy manner as well. I mean, he played well, and he's been playing well also on day 1, where he didn't have the margins that you need to have against 5 world-class players. So, a vital one for him, and he is playing against Nicholas now, which is a 6-pointer once again. If he wins that, he could potentially go straight into top 4.
That he could indeed. As we jump over to the game that you are talking about, Damien and Nicholas up against each other. Nicholas picking up that 0-0 draw against Anders. Anders very emotional after that, letting everybody know he was not happy with the points squared. For Dame Sheet, is this better for him? Obviously, yes, he picked up that victory against Manu, which is going to give him all the confidence as well. Do you think for Nicholas, that draw against Anders is almost equal as a win, knowing the class of Anders?
Knowing Nico, I think he would have liked the 3 points, but looking at the game, both players were pretty even, as we just see this. Nice goalkeeper movement right there from Nicholas, but a great start again from Damien, and I think Nicholas would want to follow this again. Just knocking on the door there, but Nicholas will not be 100% satisfied because he needs more than 1 point per game right now.
Yeah, he needs 3 points on the board for sure. Both of these players fighting to make their way into that top 4 position in Group D. This time last year, Damien found himself grouped at the FIFAe World Cup. He will not want a repeat of that. But standing in his way is the Iceman himself, the runner-up of the FIFAe World Cup as chance comes through. But good enough defending from Damien. We saw a little bit of footwork in those previous attacks as well, Damien, showcasing why. Like, yes, yesterday he didn't get the points on the board, but he was happy with how he was performing. That attack just showcasing all of the skills and tools he has in his arsenal.
Maybe that was just exactly what he needed, that first win that gives him, that makes him believe when he's getting those points. So super vital for him, and very necessary in order to make the miracle today.
As we jump over to the game between #Stokes and Johnny. Johnny, how did he get here? He came through play-ins, which is 4 out of 64 players, to then make it to the playoffs, to then be one of the 24 players. He's a player which I've kept my close eye on throughout the season. He was top 4 in the virtual Bundesliga. As we see Stokes looking to build up on that attack. Johnny, though, equal to it. And in this group, we have goals galore. We know RVP Legend scores goals. Johnny tops the goal scoring record so far as well. But then the player that he is up against, Stokes. Stokes' mentality at times throughout this tournament has been, I'm going to score 1 more goal than you. Whether that's I win 3-2, 4-3, he doesn't mind. However, conceding a little bit more on that end. We actually spoke to Stokes, and he said how after that break from round 3, he went outside, he had some words with himself, and he came back out a changed man in round 4, and that showcased with those victories that he picked up. And it is going to be a penalty over to Johnny. Stokes with a reckless challenge. Johnny with a chance to strike first. It is going to be Pele that steps up, and Pele that delivers.
Yeah, it's a very important game here, and Johnny is almost through from the groups here, just with an important one, just as we see Nicholas as well getting that lead right here. And I mean, a 6-pointer for both of them. Nicholas with first strike here, and it could end up being absolutely vital for him, as he would suddenly have the advantage when starting to play those head-to-head matches against Manu Pachora and PH Sin.
He would indeed, and we know with Nicholas, he comes to life in the knockout stages when 2 legs of FIFA is introduced. Now it's all about Stokes. How can he answer back against the German of Johnny, who's trying to hunt down RVP in Group C for that first spot, and Stokes at the opposite end looking to secure top 4 qualification with lots of work to do. Stokes fans around the world will be rooting for him, I'm sure. And let's not forget, this is a player that won the EPL with Leeds and Olivito. Yes, a bit of a different format in that 2-player tournament. It is going to be Johnny looking to put that pressure on again. Stokes does a good enough job of getting that one clear as we go in at half-time, and it is going to be 1-0 for Johnny. PH in Manu Pachora, though, is a game that's kicked off, and we want to see how that one is underway. It is going to be PH in knocking on that door early doors. He has that chance to possibly look for that shot. Does keeper equal to it?
An important one there, and PH in made that comeback before against Yilmaz, which could end up again being the game changer. So many margins here, so many last-minute chances, which has resulted in goals. So it's so hard to separate these 4 players who are fighting for the last 2 spots in Group D.
Yeah, and we saw Manu Pachora there, Team Hullet representation, and we see his teammate over on the other side, Emre Yilmaz, up against the front-running Anders Versgang. This is first v second in Group D, the group of death on both of these players. They've got accolades, trophies, moments throughout their seasons that just showcase the quality that they have. And I think Emre went a little bit quietly about his business yesterday, where we were sat there, we were talking about Anders, and what he did was absolutely phenomenal. Emre, on the other hand, though, also put in a hell of a shift.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the competition, I would say these 2 guys were the biggest favorites. Obviously, both of them, or Yilmaz, went here last year, finished top 4, which was very impressive, and his breakthrough on the global scene. Now he's here as one of the main favorites, and really looking forward to see how he does today against Anders.
Well, well, well. Paulo Neto finding himself 1-0 down to K1 John. And you have to say, if you're a Paulo Neto fan, it is not looking great. Paulo Neto, he has the ability, right, to turn this around.
He's an amazing player, and we saw that as well last year. We saw it last week, winning that trophy once again for Brazil. Yeah, definitely would be a shock if he were to leave the competition this early, and also in that manner. As we switch back here to the 2 wonder kids, playing against each other. So many tools to break down the opponent's defense, and the pace of the game, Alex, that is truly remarkable.
Yeah, both of these players make it look like they're playing a different video game to everyone else at times. The way they move the ball, their quality on the ball, they deliver on the biggest stage, in the biggest moments. And right, we know both of these players have pretty much secured qualification, but it's about who is going to take that top spot. Anders, we know first is the only goal. Anything less than first for Anders is pretty much a failure. We have had moments and goals across the board. Let's jump on over to a huge goal in this matchup between Stokes and Johnny. Johnny, first time pass through, the lovely footwork, reverse elastico, green time, low driven, just to do it. You asked me before this tournament, Alex, why have you picked Johnny to go top of the group? Well, we're showcasing exactly why he is doing that.
And that was the answer that I was looking to hear, as we switch over here to Group D, because we have another goal. It is PH Sin against Manu Bashore, and just that driven pass, we've seen it a lot, into a tap-in, and Manu Bashore had a shaky start, while PH Sin is looking like someone who's carrying that victory from last week with him in that group.
He is indeed. It's fancy footwork from R9. Van der Sar, though, easy as you like. Looking at this Group D, we had those conversations going into day 2 here, where we will find out what players will be joining. 8 players that are already confirmed. And looking at Group D, Nicholas wants to find that way into the top 4. Manu and PH are the ones that find themselves there as it stands. However, Damien also won't go down without a fight. We said, who is the person that's going to drop out? It was Manu. He's not delivering right now on the stage that he needs to. Do you think he has that ability to pull them back?
Gotta say, I saw his face cam after that loss to Damien, and I think that loss could be very defining, because he looked very frustrated and upset. And you gotta keep your feelings cool when you're playing, as we see. Chance here.
Jump on over to K1 John, Paolo Neto. This is in Group C. This is bottom of the group versus 4th. K1 John, we keep mentioning it, the only free agent in this tournament, and possibly on a way through to the last 16. PH Zin and Manu Bachor in Group D. Sat 1-0 just on the stroke of half-time. A loss of possession, though, and it is going to be Manu that looks to drive. Some good enough defending from Manu, who just couldn't break past PH Zin's defence. It's going to take that time and composure, and really, if PH Zin can get 3 points here, Aggie, it's just going to slowly start to edge him up and further away from that 4th spot.
Yeah, I think a win here will put him in such a favourable spot that it would require huge mistakes for him to not go through, because he still have some games to play, and I really doubt that he will not get any points in his remaining games as well. So Group D and C is still rocking.
It is indeed, and Stokes is carrying on from yesterday's story. Goals conceded. Johnny, 3 to the good. Emre Yilmaz and Anders Verjgang will go in at half-time at 0-0. And we do have goals from elsewhere. We're going to see RVP legends. The man, the one, Pogba, drives into the box, and just the confidence on that left foot. It's one of the reasons why we see so many players happy to run that item. Stokes, though, it ended so well yesterday, picking up 2 vital wins. Today, similar story to what we saw at the start of yesterday's group.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he is going to respond to this start here, because it looks like a deja vu. And I mean, Stokes is here, most experienced player. He's been on for, I think Mike said, a decade. I even played against him many times, and we would expect him to have the experience to kind of rework his games. So we see another one there, which is pretty much deja vu.
Yeah, that is game, set, match 1 as we jump on over to Damesheet and Nicholas. And it is going to be Damesheet that wins that penalty. Nicholas giving that one away. You saw that throughout the FIFAe Nations. It's Damien that steps up with R9, saved from Nicholas. A huge, huge save, as we just see that highlight again from Johnny. The step overs coming through, the confidence, the goalkeeper in no man's land. And Johnny blows Stokes out the water. And there's a reason why he has scored so many goals. Back to the game now in Group C. RVP legend wants to keep hold of that top spot, and to do so, he needs to match the results of Johnny. And he's doing it with this 1-0 against Oban, which would give him another vital 3 points in Group C. As we wrap this one up, Oban will be very disappointed to not pick up a result, but he is on that attack. It is going to be the chance. One more. Take back the words. He won't be disappointed because he's found that equaliser.
Just in the last second, that's all he need. Oberon there just getting a crucial point, as we have seen. The long shot, Trivella there from Green. And Damien, I mean, he's not out of this conversation. He's still in it.
He is still in that conversation. It is a vital game for one of those players to take 3 points if they can. Back over to this game of Emre Yilmaz and Anders Verjgang. 54 minutes gone in this. If you are just joining us, this is game number 7 in Group C and D. We have 10 games in total to play for these competitors, and only 4 of them will advance out of their group. 2 will be sent home. And we are currently sat watching the group of death with players that really are giving us, on paper, final-worthy games in group stage football.
It's been amazing, and I can't wait to watch the remaining games here. We'll see so many emotions, feelings, sad players, but also over the moon happy players. That's what this is about. It's feelings, it's passion. It's virtual football at the highest level.
It is indeed. But let's jump over to another matchup which is tightly contested, and it is PH Zin and Manu Bachor, as PH Zin looks to extend that lead on that edge of the box. First time passing, good defending though from Manu, and sees his way out to build up into another attack, another opportunity. What can he deliver though?
Just that one goal would be so good for him.
Well, you said one goal and he's got a vital chance with it. Defender comes across, stands tall, stands strong. And for Manu right now, it's just not dropping at the times where he needs it most.
I thought that maybe he could have just went for that shot at the far post, but decided to try to take that extra touch, do that extra skill move that could increase his chances, going from 25% chance to almost 100.
Well, let's stick on this one. Damshi versus Nicholas. This is 5th versus 6th, and it is going to be Nicholas who's knocking on that door, but Damien with some fantastic defending. For both of these players, a point, yes, because of the result as it stands right now for Manu. Still keeps them very much within that shout. Manu, obviously that player in that 4th position. He's sat on 6 points. Nicholas is on 5 and Damien is on 4. That's before this round kicked off. Let's see if Damshi can find a way to take all 3 points against the Iceman. Bit ropey there, goes one back, and that is going to be game in that matchup. 1-1, all points shared between the 2 players. Damien of Aziz Esports and Nicholas 99 heads on over to shake their hands. Now let's move over to a different story, a different moment in Group C, where Paulo Neto sits bottom of that group and K1 John has the chance, reverse elastico. Van der Sar palms it behind.
I gotta say, if Paulo Neto loses this, can he still make it mathematically? Then it's going to look very, very tough for him, I think.
K1 John would move on to 10 points here, which would keep him in that 4th position, because Oberon sits in 3rd on 12, and Paulo Neto would be on 4. With a total of 9 points remaining, it certainly becomes a Mount Everest challenge for Paulo Neto. But he has got one more chance here to try and give himself a lifeline in Group C here at the FIFAe World Cup. Paulo Neto, what have you got in your locker? And the answer to that is not a lot.
No, that was the hiking boots, Alex. Instead, K1 John can secure this, and it's a vital one for him as well, as we can see on the reactions here. K1 John, he's making a name for himself once again.
He is, as we move on over into this matchup. PH Zin and Manu. It's going to be PH Zin with a chance of dreams. And you are not going to miss from there if you get that shot off across your body. Green time finish. Manu just couldn't clear his lines, Aggie.
Yeah, can't get the ball away. And instead we could just see new, or the E-Nations double world champion celebrates with big passion.
And another chance as well. Goalkeeper stands tall though, puts that one behind. It would have just put it out of reach for Manu, even though there is minutes remaining. With fancy footwork inside that box, it's Pogba with the step overs, and Manu is going to clear those lines. Unfortunately for Manu though, that is going to be back-to-back losses, and he is dragging himself into the conversation of who is going to finish 5th and 6th in the group of death, as we saw Nicholas and Damien pick up that draw in their matchup. PH in though, pushing himself further and further away onto 11 points, and in that all-important 3rd spot, just edging further and further away, Aggie.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like a tough one there for some of the players. As we also seen Emre, Yilmaz and Anders. And Anders haven't scored today. That's pretty big considering still that he's playing against 2 of the best players. Still a big upset, isn't it?
For Anders, I think for most players, when you go up against Nicholas and Emre Yilmaz, you probably say to yourself, hey, look, this is going to be a tough game. Yeah, if we can get 3 points, we'll obviously be over the moon. But the fact that Anders has drawn both of those games and not scored a single goal, that's not good for him. What conversations does he have there with his coach, Daniel?
I think it's a lot of frustrations. I think Daniel's just trying to calm him down a bit, because at the end of the day, he's also aware of the fact that he is through. He is through to tomorrow. He just has so high ambitions with every aspect of the game. Every single second in game matters to him. So I think they're just discussing a few things, maybe some things he needs to adjust once he'll get ready for the 8th round of Group C and D.
Yeah, as we see him walk off there and have some more conversations and chats with the team. But let's have a look at how the group stages are looking as it stands. Group C, Johnny and RVP Leshen. That battle between them two, and Oberon coming into that conversation as well. Johnny sat on 14 points with a 10-goal difference, and then RVP Legend 13. Oberon sat in 3rd with 12. K1 John, again, just pushing himself further and further away. And for Stokes and Paolo Neto that find themselves out of that all-important top 4, with a goal difference of -10 for each of them, you can see where those problems are arising. Group D, though, sees a different story for Anders Versgang, who hasn't picked up a victory so far today, but is still sat in that top spot. Emre Yilmaz in 2nd, and PH Zin, again, edging further and further away, but Nicholas just takes that 4th spot as he is level with Manu Bachor. And really, both of these kind of stories that we're seeing is that, yes, Group A, possibly that chance for Stokes to come through as well. But then in Group B, it's very, very different in the case of that 4th, 5th and 6th have all got a chance.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the upcoming match here we're seeing with K1 John and Stokes. I mean, if K1 John wins that match, I believe we already have a top 4 settled in that group. So a massive one for both of them. Stokes want to keep his dream alive, and K1 John wants to eliminate Stokes.
Yeah, and we saw Paolo Neto bottom of the table there as we jump into the game that he has against Oberon. Paolo Neto is a back-to-back-to-back EMLS champion. He has just won the FIFA E-Nations Cup with Brazil. He won his group this time last year at the FIFAe World Cup, and he now sits bottom. Why?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, Alec, because he's a top quality player. And here we just see again, when you get into a bad mood, or you get a few results that doesn't go your way, you can very easy get into this bad spirit where you just feel like nothing is clicking for you, and you can't seem to turn it around no matter what you do. And I think that's what may happen to Paolo Neto, but you would have thought otherwise he would be coming into the competition with so much confidence and self-belief. But again, it just goes to show that 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 is 2 different disciplines.
It is, and for Paolo Neto, as each game goes by now, I think he will just be wanting to get this tournament over and done with, but we'll see if he can put up a fight against the Italian of Oberon. Oberon having a top 4 E-Nations finish with Italy. Was here as well at the FIFAe World Cup last season, finishing top 4. He has got accolades that go on time and time again. Paolo Neto inside that 18-yard box. Oberon having numbers there. It's one thing we know about his defensive capabilities. He's very difficult to break down. Paolo Neto, he's got the ability inside that 18-yard box. Goalkeeper movement coming through. And again, another corner.
Yeah, he needs to defend this well. Can he do that? That's the question.
Paolo Neto moving the ball around quickly and efficiently, but Oberon says, thank you very much, I'll take that one. It's time for me to look for time and space and work away into that attack. Games across the other groups will be kicking off very shortly. As soon as we have news from them, we will bring them to you as we close up Group C and D. Paolo Neto, fancy footwork, but he's going to get that little lucky bounce, but he does not mind, takes the shot. Henry, a little bit tame.
A great response, though, from Paolo Neto there. Just doing a lot of things right and showing his offensive repertoire, which maybe has been one of the issues, that just haven't been able to convert the chances that he created, and on the other end haven't been structured enough in the defense. So we just see it. It's just about scoring those goals when you're in the positions, and sometimes you just feel like it doesn't go your way, and I think that's the feeling Paolo Neto is sitting with. And usually I say it's not over until the fat lady has sung, but she's starting to warm up, I think.
She's starting to sing indeed. Let's head on over though to K1 John versus Stokes, which is a huge matchup in Group C. For #Stokes, we know the capability that he has, but it's about, can he deliver on it? Can he claw back to what he had yesterday? Stokes starts off strong. Fernandez is going to get through, and the finish at the near post. I thought that just went wide, but either way, Stokes fires himself into the lead.
And I mean, like, I can't be smart on Stokes. It's like, you never know what you get. He was off to a horrible start in the first match, but now got the perfect start. And I mean, such a likable guy with a last-minute kind of coach coming in as well. I mean, you gotta love that.
Talking about Mikel Darien there, who is sat in that booth with Stokes. Probably the smartest coach we have seen at this event. He brings the vibes, he brings the moments, but can he deliver the moments on the pitch for Stokes as well? This is such a huge game in Group C for the simple fact of, if Stokes wins this, he goes within 1 point of K1 John, who is sat in that 4th position. However, there has been goals elsewhere. And that is going to be Paolo Neto looking to bounce back against Oberon. But he does that with one little turn. Henry, a fighting chance for the Brazilian. As we come over to Manu versus Yilmaz. This is teammate versus teammate for Team Hullet. And it's a penalty that Yilmaz is going to give away to Manu. Pele steps up, save from Van der Sar.
And it could look like it's one of those days for Manu where he feels like it just doesn't go his way. And he talked about it yesterday as well, that he was a bit annoyed because he felt like he should have converted him playing so well a bit better, getting some more points to the board, and maybe it will come down to haunt him today, as he said. And it certainly looks like that's what's happening now.
It does look like that might be happening indeed for Manu Mature, but we see Nicholas on that attack against PH in the play a lot coming through. Brilliant defending. And you mentioned it, Aggie, that things just weren't going the way for Manu. But fortune has changed. And Kevin De Bruyne inside that 18-yard box, low driven. Van der Sar, keep them legs closed because the nutmeg comes through. And we're back with the Italian versus the Brazilian. Oberon up against Paulo Neto, which is a different story. Paulo Neto sat bottom of Group C. Oberon just doing what he does, which is win football matches and get himself out of the groups and into the moment where he shines best. Knockouts. Chance now for Oberon. Reverse elastico. Paulo Neto stands strong in that defensive department. As we close up into half-time, it is going to be one more chance, but Davies, one of the quickest fullbacks on FIFA 23, very difficult to get past. We mentioned the game that has so much riding on it for Stokes. It's 28 minutes in. And I think for Stokes, when we're talking about opportunities and wanting to relish this moment that he has, yesterday he started off poorly. The last two games he came into his element. He defended well, he scored goals, and he was mature in those performances. He can look back on that yesterday and go, yes, so far, game one, game two, not gone the way that I want. However, we did it yesterday. Why can't we do it again? And he's doing it right now.
Yeah, and once when Stokes starts to get things clicking, he is arguably one of the best offensive players in the game. I mean, he's having his own very unique direct style, and if he gets it going, things are looking great for him.
And talk of getting it going, this is one player that can do that as well. Emre Yilmaz, just on the stroke of half-time, fires that one into Hullet, who does not miss from those angles. Nicholas and PH in now. A game which Nicholas needs to start picking up victories, especially if Manu can find a result against Emre. The step overs come through, and what a challenge that is.
That's a proper tackle.
Proper challenge.
And yeah, just a South American derby here. I believe it ended as a draw yesterday, and PH Sin is in a very favorable position coming into this game. In theory, a draw would do him great as well. So he's not in a rush. But
chance coming through. It is going to be Arnheim. Van der Sar with that big save. PH Sin looking to knock on that door just on the stroke of half-time once again as we round up the first half in games number 8 in these group stages. Let's check up though with elsewhere with K1 John and Stokes. Stokes being smart in that play, looking to build up for this last attack. The referee will blow that whistle. Big switch of play coming through from Stokes. Lovely footwork from Davis to evade that challenge. Centre-back goes on walkies. Stokes has put himself into a bit of a sticky situation here. We'll need to just pull that one out, and does that, thankfully, with the referee blowing that whistle. The pressure was on there.
yeah, we often see, which is pretty new, that when you are going for that last attack of the match, just trying to hold and keep that position until the clock is almost done, you'll see your opponent just applying that team pressure and trying to make you make those mistakes that can cost you. Stokes just keeping his head cold.
Yeah, he did that in ice-like fashion as we close up again for Manu and Emre. It is going to be last attack for Manu. Ball into the middle to R9. He's got a man at the top of the screen, which he does try to feed through. But a brilliant slide tackle from the defender. All evens in at half-time. And we did see that goal go in there as well in the game between Oberon and Paulo Neto as we come back over to see it. It is Paulo Neto that knocks on that door. Lovely footwork. And that right there for Paulo is, yes, we know he's got the quality in the attacking area. He can move the ball, he's got the skill moves, but he just hasn't done it consistently enough while keeping the ball out at the other end.
Yeah, that's the thing, that, as you say, Alex, we know what he's capable of in terms of offensive skills, but the defensive part hasn't been on point, and you need to be on point in both ends at the FIFAe World Cup, otherwise you're not going to have that success.
Talking of a player that can be defensively sound, it is this man on the screen, Nicholas, who so far today has picked up a draw in both of his games against Dameschi and Anders Versgang, which, if you want to grow with any sort of confidence of keeping the ball out of your own net, getting a clean sheet against Anders Versgang to start the day off certainly puts you in that positive outcome. Nicholas just trying to force that one through down the line. PH in equal to it. It is Pele. Big switch of the ball. It is going to fall into the feet of Mbappe. And he does not miss from there.
PH in, I mean, what a performance today from him. He's really looking like someone who knows what it takes. And for Nicolas and Manu and Damien, I mean, surely they're isolated if the result stands as they are.
That they will, and we know that Manu is in that matchup against Yilmaz right now. That is 1-1 as we jump into this game with Anders Versgang up against Damien, which you are going to hear this right. In 2 games of FIFA, Anders has yet to score on day 2. I know you've been bigging him up time and time again, Aggie. How much will that play on his mind? Do you think it will? Or do you think he'll just say, let's do what I do here, which is get in the box with R9, keep him with a huge save?
And I think that's the first time in a while where I thought, or where I think that he should have done something differently. I mean, he had that driven pass opportunity, but decided to try to go for a shot like we just saw here with Manu Pachori getting a crucial goal in that Team Hullet derby. And Anders will still be looking for his first goal of the day. But we did see the face cam, and usually it doesn't really give you any hints, but he did look frustrated, didn't look too happy, and it might going to play a small part here for Anders.
Well, Aggie, as you were talking there was a massive goal between the 2 Team Hullet sides, and it went the way of Manu Pachor, which means if you are a fan of the Iceman Nicholas from Argentina, Manu will be edging away from him in Group D. A player which we know has delivered on the biggest stages time and time again. We could possibly see Nicholas 99 not make it through the groups. If this stays this way and he loses to PH Zin, he has got a lot to do in those remaining 2 games.
And then it's getting closer than we ever thought it would. We did speak about the potential chance of him not getting past the group of death, but now it's coming very close, not to only to us, but also to him.
Yeah, there is just a technical pause in that game between Nicholas and PH Zin. So as soon as we get any information when that game's underway, we will bring it to you. Right now, though, we're taking a look at second in the group of Emre Yilmaz and Manu, who started off slow today, but so far in this game is looking on top. Clear the lines, that you do, Yilmaz. A chance that goes begging for Manu. We spoke about the current FIFA E Nations champion, Paulo Neto. PH Zin on the other side is doing very well in Group D. Paulo finds himself bottom of the group, and Oberon, from this game, if my math serves me right, is pretty much going to secure qualification, Aggie.
Yeah, impressive from Oberon, just that consistency. I mean, he's always there in the fun stages of the competition. And he's looking like he's going to do that once again here. Just securing a top 4 finish last year. You want to go a step or 2 further.
Yeah, it will, and that means for Paulo Neto and Stokes in Group C, they have it all to do, as K1 John is the only player left that they can chase in that group. Right now, though, back with Anders Rørsgang and Damien.
Just looking for those opportunities. Doesn't seem to be able to find them, man.
It's just looking a bit forceful at times.
Trying to cross us, and he misses that, and that was a huge chance for Anders. And we often just seen him go for the short passing, but he went for the German cross, the early one, and it was a huge chance. And
did you get a glimpse of the player cam there, Aggie?
yeah, I'm watching.
He's out of his seat.
I mean, I hope they paused the game.
Anyway, we move back to the game between Emre Yilmaz and Manu Bachor. It is Manu with a chance to seal the deal. Time and composure. When he needed it most, he delivers on the biggest stage. 3-1 against the E-Champions League winner, his teammate, Emre Yilmaz.
A crucial one for Manu, and just applying that pressure now, and Nicolas and Damien, for that sake, must be feeling the pressure right now, because it is... It didn't thought I was going to say it, but could look like he's going out, the Iceman.
Possibly, as it is going to be RVP legend up against Johnny. This is tabletop of Johnny up against second place RVP legend. RVP came in with the goal of winning 5 out of 5 today. Johnny stands in the way, though, who will say, no, I am here to have myself in that top spot as well. Back to the game between Manu and Emre. We saw Manu put himself into a commanding position against a player that so far in the group stage has looked pretty much unstoppable. But Manu getting the better of his teammate. And this is something that Emre said yesterday. Manu always beats me.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have that nemesis when you're playing against your teammates, as you might get a 4 here.
It is just going to be a goal that means not all too much in the standings, but either way for Manu, a convincing win against his teammate of Emre Yilmaz. But this game, this is a game that means a lot in Group C. K1 John with Hullet, can you deliver? I can't believe that's gone in.
Yeah, he even went the right side with the goalkeeper movement there, but somehow it still goes in. And that's the margins you don't want to have against you. It was a guessing game and he guessed right. But unfortunately, still not enough. Just 1 point would just make it even harder for Stokes. You need that 3 points, I think.
To add on to that, Stokes needs 3 points. Stokes does indeed need 3 points against John. There'll be 2 games remaining with a total of 6 points left. Stokes sits in 5th place on 6 points before this game kicked off. Should K1 John manage to beat Stokes here, he will knock out the EPL winner. Still plenty of time to be played in that matchup though. 1-1 with 30 minutes remaining.
Yeah, we're just looking at RVP legend Johnny now, which we must consider as 2 of the true dark horses to win this competition. Group stage has been on a very high level.
One thing we've noticed in the group stage here, compared to the previous tournaments that we've had in 2v2, there's been more goals scored. What is the difference between 1v1 and 2v2 in your opinion? Why are we seeing more goals?
I think in general, when you are 2 players playing on the same team, you just have more manual control, which does it's easier to close gaps. It's easier to eliminate some of those small margins that can go against you. I think that's the major difference. It is the control of being 2 players. And also you need to be in sync with another teammate. Well, here you, in theory, when the referee blows the whistle, you only have yourself.
That you do. There's 20 minutes remaining. It is Stokes looking to find his way past the defence of K1 John. I keep saying it time and time again. This is the only free agent out of the 24 players here in this tournament. He said he's not bothered about not having a team right now. His mission is purely about winning the World Cup. A surprise package maybe, but a package that is looking to make its way into the top 4.
I don't think we should just follow this.
Well, well, well. Well, well, well. K1 John has pushed himself in to the commanding position of knockout football.
Wow. And I mean, Stoke were definitely not happy with that one. And it also means that you have to risk everything now. A draw would mathematically still give him hope, but it's just very unlikely.
And there we have it. Anders Verdgang finds his first goal of the day, Aggie. First goal of the day in his 3rd game. I don't think you'll ever probably hear that again in FIFA.
Doesn't look too thrilled, to be honest.
To be honest, at times I was thinking there, did I catch that right? Was it Damien that picked up that goal? But we went to it very quickly. Either way, though, I'm sure we'll find out, just to be sure. Conversations going on in all of the booths right now. K1 John and Stokes. Stokes needs to draw this game to keep the tournament alive. He has got Paulo Neto, who we know will be out of the tournament. Stokes has to deliver in this game at least to take it through to the remaining 2. But John, if you can score this 3rd goal, you can start the celebrations nice and early, as knockout FIFA will be awaiting you.
Yeah, he's in a very favourable position right now. K1 John just need to defend this one out. And even if he were to only get that draw, still very, very good position. But let's follow Stokes here.
Stay with this game, which is a huge matchup for #Stokes. There'll be so many fans supporting the Englishman, wanting him to do well. Stokes on the edge, looking to drive that one through. Corner and a chance maybe inside that box. Ronaldinho puts that one into the back post. Varane knocks that one back. A huge save, and Van der Sar claims at the feet of Milinkovic-Savic. And K1 John is a minute away from knocking out #Stokes. Stokes applies that pressure. 20 seconds. And that's it. That is it. K1 John. Celebrations in that booth. Congratulations to him. Already, Group C is settled. Stokes, Paulo Neto depart this tournament.
Yeah, and arguably the 2 biggest names there, if you look at achievements, reputation, amount of years on the scene. Well, a huge surprise in some ways that both of them will go out. As we just see here, did the Iceman get one back?
By a lot coming through. The cut back off a cross, and the Iceman delivering in that moment. Anders out in the crowd as he comes back into his pods with that matchup against Damien. I think there's some technical pauses going in there as you come back into this game in Group D. We'll carry on with some words about Group C just after these matchups have finished. Right now, PH Zin looking to take 3 points. Lovely footwork from the attacker, but Nicholas gets that one clear. And all shared there. Back on over to Group C in just a second. As RVP Legend and Johnny, the players that have been scoring goal after goal. And both of these have 15 minutes remaining, and they might be scoring loads of goals against other players. You can't break the deadlock here.
Yeah, they just simply been cancelling each other out very well. But maybe we could have something here, just trying with the player lock here, finding our 9. But again, seems like goalless affair in a draw. Just trying to counter each other all the time. Johnny here.
Mbappe opens up that space in the middle. Popper on that first time shot at the near post. Johnny fires himself into first position, and RVP Legend, as it stands, would go down into 4th position. Start of this game, it was about RVP Johnny. You're going to go first. Which one? Who's going to take it? Well, after those results from K1 John and Oberon, he's now going to reverse and go into 4th.
So we still got to have a lot of excitement in this group, because they're playing for the 4 spots, and depending on each result, they can go from 1 to 4th, I think, all of them. But Johnny is, I gotta say, I've been really impressed with Johnny. He just seems so consistent. It just seems like everything is clicking for him right now. And again, a smart and wise finish there on the first touch at the near post. Impressive from the very tall German.
Yeah, very impressive. And as we finish up these matchups, Group C has been concluded in the sense of we know who is departing from this tournament, finishing 5th and 6th. Unfortunately for the English fans, #Stokes is out of this tournament. Still has 2 games left to maybe showcase some top level ability as well. But then Paulo Neto, both of these players, Stokes and Paulo Neto, I don't think we expected them to be out after this stage already.
No, I mean, we heard Mike say that he thought that Paulo Neto would win the entire thing, so it's a big surprise. Didn't expect both of them either to go out. You always expect one of the more experienced players to potentially make a run, because they've been here before, but that just wasn't the case for them this time, and they can still be proud of an amazing season, but today is definitely going to hurt for them.
But it is indeed. If you jump back into the game in Group C between RVP Legend and Johnny, Anders Versgang up against Dame Sheet right now. I think there's a technical pause there as those players look to finish up their matchup. That is first in Group D, up against 6th. But with this one, Johnny, some fancy footwork. just making that look easy.
Yeah, the majority of the stuff looks pretty easy when these players are showing all their skills. So we're seeing Johnny here just trying to make the clock tick. Certainly working right now.
Something about Johnny in the way that he plays, the travellas, the through balls, the ability in the box. I want to know what he has for dinner. Does he have some noodles? Does he just eat loads to be this good at FIFA? I want some.
Well, I'm curious to hear that as well.
There's RVP Legend with that big switch. Davis equal to it. Corner for the Romanian man. Ball all the way back. And the last kick of the game, the last chance of the 90 minutes falling to RVP Legend. This is a game to try and cement your place at the top of the table in Group C. Forcing that one through though, and Johnny takes it out. And that is going to be all she wrote. Johnny with a 1-0 victory. Both of those players topping the leaderboards for goals scored, and just 1 goal to separate them, Maggie.
Yeah, impressive stuff there from Johnny once again. And I have a feeling about this player. he's destined for something great at this competition. Not necessarily winning it, but I think he will make a deep run.
Oh, he did make a deep run, and he's done that so far many times throughout this season. If you don't know who Johnny is, he finished top 4 in the virtual Bundesliga. He knocked out the world champion in Umit. Then, because of finishing top 4, he had to make his way through the play-ins, where he was one of 4 players out of 64 that bring you into the playoffs. And then he was one of the players in the top 24 that have made their way into the World Cup. He's got a crowd with him, he's got his family, his friends with him, and right now he's just delivering game after game after game and just winning football matches.
Yeah, and he brought some of the experienced guys with him, with Dr. Ahano and Marv, who both played at this stage before. And it means a lot, I think, that he has some mentors who knows what this is about, who's experienced it on their own body, and so far it's been working so well for him.
Do you think when we see from Groups A and Group B, there's Berke Lyon, who he doesn't have anyone in that booth with him necessarily, yes, has a team here as well. Do you think for a lot of these youngsters that are coming through, leaning on players that maybe have been there, they're retired now, just to say, look, I've got this game coming up, how would you approach it?
Yeah, I definitely think that they can get a lot of help from some of the more experienced ones who's been there, who's been trying it. I think it goes to show that both Berke and Johnny actually has Ahano and Marv as mentors slash coaches, analysts, kind of, and both of them are through to the last 16. So I mean, something is going in the right direction for them.
And talking of the right direction, for Group C, there are 4 players that have made their way in the right direction, and that is Knockout FIFA. Who are they, you ask? Top in the group so far with 2 games remaining, it is Johnny with 21 goals scored and 10 conceded in 17 points. Oberon, though, with 4 victories, 3 draws and 1 loss, sat in second. K1 John, the free agent, books himself a ticket into the knockouts with 2 games remaining as well. And RVP legend, one of the players that went into this day scoring so many goals, finds himself now sat in 4th, but 2 games remaining. And we do say goodbye to #Stokes and Paolo Neto, 2 fantastic FIFA players who just haven't found their way in this tournament.
Yeah, commiserations to them as well. No, it doesn't mean a lot for them today, but I'm sure both of them will be extremely proud of them just reaching this stage, because it's so hard, requires so much, and it's really inspirational to see a player such as Stokes, when we see this new young wave coming forward, that he's still taking part. He's been on the scene for such a long time, and he's still managing to play with the best of the best. So from an old fox like me to him, applause.
Applause to Stokes indeed. And it's not only just what he's been doing on the pitch with his performances and what he's won this season, it's also what he is doing in that community where he has a big Twitch following that I'm sure will be very disappointed to not see him advance through, but they will be happy enough to see him here all that way. And it is over to this matchup of Anders Versgang up against Damesheet of Assist Esports. This for Damesheet, we know he's been there before and he's beat Anders. He's the one that stopped Anders on that record that he had in FUT Champions, 535-0, if my memory serves me correctly. He was the one that beat him. Can you do it again? You got a draw yesterday.
Probably not beat him since Anders is leading, but a draw. It's definitely not impossible. He did it yesterday. Now, difference is that he has to chase. That usually leaves gaps on the counters, and I don't think you'll find a better player at counter-attacks than Anders Versgang.
That you will not. Let's see how this one finishes up with 20 minutes remaining. This is Group D, the group of death. There was a technical pause in this game, so it's just a little bit behind on the other 2 matches that we have seen round up. But now it's time for Damesheet, who got grouped at the FIFAe World Cup this time last year. He currently sits rock bottom, but he's still in with a fighting chance. Finds himself 1-0 down to Anders though.
hand over to Free at the back here, and it looks like a 3-4-2-1. Constant pressure. He knows he needs minimum 1 goal, but to get 2 would be massive for him as well. He would definitely jump into that conversation. And he also knows that Nicolas and Manuel is playing each other. They still have each other to play. So if he could get a point here and they would draw and he could get those 3 points, I mean, he could somehow sneak into that top 4 still.
That he could. That he could. Right then, let's get the action back underway. As it is going to be Damien. It's looking with Ronaldo. Block comes through though. Fernandes takes that one away. We've had pauses in the game, technical problems for these players. It can be very difficult to find that rhythm. And Anders, this is his first goal that he has scored in 3 games of FIFA today. Can he double that right now? Finds that driven pass in the middle, but De Ligt, the vital interception.
The impressive thing about it is that it's a big surprise that he didn't score more than 1 goal so far, but he still didn't concede any, which just goes to show how good his pressure play are, how good his defense are. It's just like he's anticipating everything.
No, looking for that shot, and there was a late challenge there. The referee says you are not allowed to do that. Anders, chance to double the lead. Ronaldo down the middle. He rallies up them fans, and it's 2 goals in 1 game.
Just going down the middle there. Maybe a small mistake from Damien by making that penalty there. Could have avoided it. I mean, he's still not out, but it would require a draw in the next game between Nicolas and Manu, and 2 wins on the board for Damien. So he put himself into a position where he can't really decide it himself.
Look, you have to feel for Damien here. Grouped at the World Cup last year and then makes it again, which in itself is such a difficult task. So there's full props and credit to every player that is here. And rewarded for it, he gets put up against Emre Yilmaz, Anders Versgang, Manu Bashir, PH Sin, and then Nicolas 99. Right now he sits bottom of that group as the game's getting underway. Elsewhere, Oberon and Johnny, the players that know, you know what, we're through. We're now playing for seeding. Can we see maybe just some more free-flowing FIFA? We know goals have been coming through regardless, but can the players relax a little bit more now?
I think so. We'll definitely see it. We already saw a lot of goals in that group, but I think the players are just going to roll out a bit more, especially the players. Well, I mean, we have a game between Paulo Neto and Stokes coming up. Could be one of the most high-scoring goals.
Yeah, as both of those players know that their tournament is over, but can they just showcase what they can do on the biggest stages? We know both of those players have so much quality. We are rounding up this matchup though between Anders Versgang and Damien. We saw that penalty go in. 9 lays that one across to Bellingham. The fancy step over, it's coming through. Frame sheet though, equal enough to it. Gives that one away, looking to force that one through. But Anders, he reads, he intercepts, he knows what you're wanting to do. He's almost in your mind. And that's what a defensive display from Anders, where yes, he's not conceded a goal. So he's only scored 2 so far today in this game. He's also, as it stands, going to keep back-to-back-to-back clean sheets. That's unheard of in group stage FIFA.
It's impressive, really, but curse of the commentator? No. Oh, just a great save there once again. You got nervous there, Alex. Yeah, just again, just showing why Anders is such an impressive player in every aspect of the game. His reactions on different level, and at the same time, that's with and without the ball. Even when you try to put him into those pressure traps, he just finds another solution.
As we look to round up this matchup between Anders and Damien, substitutions coming through. Damien, who needs results to go his way if he doesn't pick up any sort of points in this matchup. 4 minutes on the clock. Can he find a lifeline of something, anything, to possibly apply that pressure out on that right wing? Anders just doing enough defensively, making it difficult for Damien. Ronaldinho looks at that Travella, the goalkeeper movement, and that is going to be Anders picking up his first victory of the day. A clean sheet again to show for it and to keep himself at the top of the group. Congratulations to him. I'm sure he will be, I say happy, but maybe not so much in that position. And Mike LaBelle is joining for these next few rounds. Anders does what he does best, win games.
He's solidified himself in the group. We knew this, we expected it, we have that expectation. Late night swaps here. Myself, we're going to be joined shortly by Spencer as well. It feels good to share the commentary booth, to see how this is kind of finishing out in Group D. Group C's already been routed. There's not a lot in terms of any movement that's going to have there. Maybe some of the top four, who gets placed, who gets seated in what places and what areas. You got Johnny and Ubrin on screen at the moment. Johnny up 1-0. One of the more impressive, if not the most impressive stories of an under-the-radar player that no one expected, and he's currently topping the group in Group C.
Yeah, incredible. He's not just a physical giant, he's a FIFA giant as well. And he's absolutely reigning tall over this competition right now. And listen, he could make a deep run in this. I've been really impressed by him, to be honest.
I was asked after day one, could he do it again? So far, he's lived up to that hype. He's definitely been able to do it again. How tall would you say he is? I remember seeing the interview. Spencer stood up next to Johnny, and we were all humble.
He's got to be at least 6'6", but I think it could be anything up to 6'8". We're talking Peter Crouch territory. I think he'd beat him in the air. And he's beating everyone in the air here, including Obrin. This is basically first versus second. It's kind of, not definitely, but you could say a battle for who's going to win the group. Obviously, seeding is key. You know, we're looking at Group A is who the Group C players will take on in the next round. So, for example, finishing first or second could define whether you play Montaxa or Berkay Lyon.
And transparently, this has been the group that I've been most surprised by.
We've got a goal to show you now. This is actually Paolo Neto versus Stokes. It's a dead rubber. Both these players are out playing for pride. Stokes was 1-0 up, but this is Neto on the attack here, working into the box and putting it. Goalkeepers all over the shop. He's at the wrong post. Made it 1-1. They may well share the points. This is how Group D is looking after 8 rounds of FIFA. This group very much still open. Even Damien can still technically qualify if he gets 2 wins, 11 points, may just do it. More importantly, perhaps, Nicholas, the Iceman, Mike, could be crashing out. Only 1 win from 8 games.
And we said this early on, we somewhat teased it yesterday when Nicholas got underway, is that we know that he's known for the draws, and he's had quite a few of those.
Another goal here in this game. It's a great one, perhaps because they're playing with freedom. Stokes gets his second of the match. If only he'd been doing this a little bit more often, a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, we won't see much more of these two players. But this game is another big one. Manu Bashir against Nicholas. We just said it, Nicholas, 1 win in 8. He pretty much has to win this game to have a chance. Manu's not safe and dry just yet. He's only 2 points ahead of Nicholas on 9. You could say if this is a win and a loss here, the losing team is out. Losing player could be going home.
Yeah, I was going to give you the lay of the land. I was going to paint the picture. I was going to give you some of that FIFA artistry, but it's pretty simple. If Manu Bashir is able to get this result, as you were saying, or maybe slightly getting ahead of ourselves here, but it does create that degree of separation. I don't think there's enough points available, actually. That would wrap it up.
So many of Manu's games have been close. I felt really sorry for him. In another world, he could be top in this group right now. And I feel like he's one of these players that if he gets out of the group, we could see a different beast tomorrow where he comes alive. I wouldn't count him out as long as he gets top 4.
And again, part of that Renzo training camp, the boot camp, and the Team Hullet collective.
Another goal to look at here between Yilmaz and Damien. We said Damien has to win it. Well, he's got a bit of work to do because it's Yilmaz who's taken the lead with a fantastic left-footed strike to the top corner here. Yilmaz is going to go through, it looks like, but he could technically still finish top. It would require a collapse from Anders Vergan, which I think is very unlikely. He's still unbeaten. But Yilmaz getting those points in the bag.
I can't believe it, Spence. We looked at Group D. We've talked about it being the group of death. That I'm not straying away from. But I did expect for the final game to make a drastic difference. And in theory here, as you kind of got the conversation started, if Manu Bashir sees out this game against Nicholas, still a big task in hand, he'd do enough. 12 points is enough.
Yeah, and a draw would leave Nicholas on 8, meaning the most he could finish on 11, which is looking like it wouldn't be enough, but could still technically be. Let's face it, Nicholas needs to win. If not for the points, for his own sense of pride. Because the Iceman has not been winning anywhere near enough. He's melting in the heat of the Saudi Arabian desert. We finally found what degree he can take. It's about 40 degrees. Once he gets to 40, it gets too hot. Or am I wrong? Is he going to score here? No. He's defended once again by Manu Bashir, who looks to go up the other end and break the deadlock.
And to give you an idea of some of these future matchups, and this is looking past this round.
Great ball in, Manu. Oh, he's offside.
He's offsides. No, all good. We got Nicholas versus Yilmaz. We got Damien versus PH Zin. But then we have Anders Vergang versus Manu Bashir. So you could say if Manu Bashir doesn't get this job done here, you don't want that task. As you see the goal there, the opener for RVP Legend, scoring for fun. Again, that's a seeding matchup if you're looking at Group C. Yeah,
the group's done, but anywhere from 1st to 4th is still available. So you could see massive seeding implications in that group still. But we're going to jump back with a Manu Bashir-Nicholas game here. This is a huge game in the group of death.
And I just want to reiterate, the final game here for Manu Bashir is against Vergang. So you have to get the result here against Nicholas.
It's true.
Quite the finish for the day, Nicholas. And then you get rewarded by Anders Vergang. But just the fact that he's been so untouchable, people are not getting wins off of him. Best case, maybe you get a draw, and I don't know if that's enough for Manu Bashir. That's why he needs this result versus Nicholas. He knows that, Nicholas knows that, Vergang knows that, everyone in the group knows what's happening, the situation.
Can he get a goal here? So I think you're right, Mike. I think a loss here pretty much puts Manu out, unless he pulls off the unthinkable and beats Anders.
And he would also need Nicholas to drop points, because if Nicholas wins, he'd be on 13, Manu Bashir based on the tie. I guess it depends what happens in the last game. They could both be on 13, and now we got to get into the calculations and permutations. I'm not ready for that at midnight.
Well, this group's going to go the distance. We know that. Group C is done and dusted, but Group D is alive and well, even though it's the group of death. We'll see what happens here as we approach half-time in Manu Bashir-Nicholas game. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date with what's happening elsewhere as well, because there's plenty of teams that can still make it out of this group. It's Manu on the ball here in the darker kit.
Wow.
Great ball in, great header, huge goal for the Dutchman of Team Hullet. Has he just knocked the Iceman out?
And that is something special, just spectacular. You see the vision, back post, converts, header, not stopping it.
We've got another goal in this dead rubber here between Paranetto and Stokes. It's back and forth very much, 2-2, plenty of goals. Just one for the neutrals, that one, because we won't be seeing them progress. Back with Manu Bashir-Nicholas as we approach half-time. I mean, let's be honest, say all the great things you can say about Nicholas, and we're all big fans of him, and he's been unbelievable, but he's just not been good enough here so far. If he was to make it out of the group, it would be really quite lucky, because he's just not blowing people away in the way we're used to seeing.
And we saw him have to battle last year as well, and he got himself into the finals, but his group stage wasn't that impressive. He had to come on big into that second day in order to make a run, and he just hasn't been good enough this time around. He hasn't disrupted enough. He hasn't gone for it offensively enough. He's generating, again, those draws. And we just talk about the deadly draws. It does not work in these one-off games in the group stage.
Yeah, I think he really does prefer the two-legged matches, but we might not see him in any. We have had a highlight to show you, though. There's been a penalty, I believe, in this game. It's fallen to K1 John. The question is, did he score it against RVP Legend? Let's take a look. Does the free agent convert this one to make it 1-1? He does, Both players through, we know, but they're playing for seeding. And it could really be the difference between going out in the last 16 and making a run to the final. Who you play in the next round is crucial.
And I don't care how much FIFA I play, I can't get used to Henry being a left footer. Of course, with that new foot item.
Oh, no, did you see that?
Oh, you hate to see that.
Horrendous goal, and Yilmaz is fuming with that one.
I think he gave the monitor a head nod. I wasn't ready for that. I saw a little shake.
He might need a new one there. There was an own goal. It was absolutely horrendous goal to concede. He'll be fuming with that. Back to RVP Legend here at 1-1. RVP Legend looking to reinstate his lead here. As we mentioned, this is Group C. We know who's going through, we just don't know in what position. So the game's still very much important. Manu Bashir, Nicholas is back underway in the second half. So we will try and join that one as soon as possible, because that is a huge, huge game.
Well, that's the game that impacts the group. A lot of the remaining matchups in that group don't technically matter if we're just looking at progression, depending what happens there. We might have our Final Four, or this might be wide open going into the last set of fixtures.
Joined it here with Manu Bashir, making strides into Nicholas's box. He loses the ball on this occasion. If he can get a second goal, and if he can get it now, he'll be looking very good to progress and potentially leave the Iceman in his wake. It's very much possession football for Manu here. Nicholas needs to show us something. He needs to just change gear, shift into an offensive strategy, because I'm seeing him almost passively potentially head out of this tournament right now, and I don't like it. Manu Bashir back on the ball to double his lead maybe with Ronaldo.
Oh.
Good defending in the end.
Thought it was a ball roll away there. I will say this from Manu Bashir, he commits a lot of bodies, and he does have a high press, so there will be space for the Iceman, Nicholas, to work with. If he can get in behind, if he can speed up the tempo a little bit.
Can he get a goal here? Nicholas needs something. He needs to call on all that experience he has at the very highest of levels. Is it now? Is it a goal? And it is! And Nicholas is still in this. It's 1-1.
I feel like we spoke that one into existence. You see the step over, a little bit of hesitation from Manu Bashir. Opens up the opportunity. Goalkeeper movement not done right. Near post. 1-1.
And there's been a goal, and guess what? It's Anders. Took a while to get going today, but now he's very much scoring on all fronts. 1-0 up against PH Zin. He could be closing out the group stage unbeaten with a potential 21-point haul, which is not bad at all. Same as Stingray, incidentally, or Stingray did it with a loss.
Nicholas might be leaving it late, but if he's able to draw this game, 8 points, he's got to cause, I guess, an upset at this point going up against Yilmaz in his final game. But if he does the deed, he does the job, and Manu Bashir can't get points off Ergang, Nico's slipped right in there.
I feel like this has been a real test, not just today, but yesterday as well, of Manu's sort of patience and his just strength of character, because he's had to really struggle in games. He's had a couple of 90th minute goals going against him, which have caused him to draw instead of win matches. He's thrown away leads, like, you know, he's going to really take it out of him and test if he's got the resolve to progress. Another goal here, RVP Legend against K1 John, and his flick reversed it from 1-0 down to 2-1 up, and that could see him finish as high as second in the group.
I'm surprised it hits the back of the net, but he's had quite the tournament this far. Another player underrated, under the radar, not talked about a lot. Got himself into the tournament, and he's made the most of it as well.
Representing Egypt, as he's not assigned to a club, as Mike mentions, but I don't think that will be the case for much longer. Going to get out of the group of the World Cup. That puts you in a pretty high bracket of FIFA player by anyone's measurements. And it is Damien here trying to keep himself alive. He has to win this game to have any chance of progressing, but he's going up against a very talented Yilmaz, who incidentally has not won today, despite winning 3 group games yesterday and 1 draw. 2 draws and a loss of his 3 games today.
Definitely hasn't been as good as yesterday. That's why we talk about accumulating those points. Yesterday he gathered 10. Currently on 12. Clearly not a day to brag about, not holding your chest high, but he's done enough to get himself out of the group.
Yeah, we're going to see him tomorrow, but hopefully we'll see a better version of the Yilmaz we've seen today. If he's going to live up to his tag, obviously E-Champions League winner, that's no small feat, make no mistake. This is still the biggest game for me. He's going to pause though, so we're going to jump over to another match. Here we are in Yilmaz, Damien again. Damien's got to score. It's a great result, a draw against Yilmaz, but it's not good enough to keep yourself in the competition, my friend.
He's got 20 minutes here, but you're right, Spencer. If Damien's able to get this upset, comes out of this, he's at 8 points. He needs some help, but he definitely puts himself back into the discussions depending what happens.
The crazy thing about Group D that we know is that whoever goes out is going to be a shock. We kind of thought it was going to be Damien, no disrespect to him, but he's actually maybe proved us wrong. He might still stay alive. But even if he goes out, whoever goes out with him is going to be big news. Doesn't matter who it is. If it's Nicholas, if it's Manu Bashir, it's going to be headline-grabbing stuff. Speaking of which, Manu Bashir versus Nicholas here, they are pretty much playing for a place in the knockouts here. If you win the game, you're knocking the other one out, I would say. And either way, it's a huge loss to the competition. There's a goal, and it's Nicholas, and that is why you can never count him out. Manu Bashir is fuming with that one, and that kind of describes his tournament thus far. In games, until he's not in them. And Nicholas is very much in this.
And it's about those small margins. Time and time again, we talked about it yesterday, Manu Bashir. Multiple games that he was leading, gave up 90th minute goals, was turned into draws. Today, he started out the day losing to Damien. That's a game that he needs a result with. Sitting on 9 points, now he's trailing against Nicholas. One of the best closeout players of all time.
Huge save there for K1 John's goalkeeper against RVP Legend, looking to equalise this one. Manu Bashir is leaving himself with an absolutely unenvious task of having to beat Anders.
And he's going to need a loss. And he's going to need a loss from Nicholas.
True.
Nicholas has to get beat by Yilmaz, and then he also has to beat Anders.
I mean, that's what it depends, because he'll be level on points with PhD and Yilmaz potentially. On 12 points, so it could go head-to-head. It's a lot of stuff to think about there.
Nicholas, if he wins this game, will be on 10.
No, forget Nicholas.
Okay.
If Manu Bashir wins against Anders, he'll go into 12, and he'll be level with Yilmaz and PhD, depending on what happens in their game. So there's a load of permutations. Anyway, 15 minutes left in this game. RVP Legend versus K1 John. Again, the group is done, the seeding is very much not, and I can't stress enough how important seeding is. We're talking about, this is a $10,000 game right now. Everyone that's in the group is getting a minimum of 10 grand if they get knocked out. If they progress, that goes up to 20. If they can get themselves a nice seed and a decent run in the brackets, that then goes to 45, which then goes to 80, sorry. It goes to 150, then it goes to 300. As you know, that's what the winner gets. Every game is worth a significant amount. You could say of life-changing moolah. Oh, what a save that is. 10 minutes left. As things stand, Manu Bashir is not looking good to progress, because he has to get a result either here or against Anders Vergang. If you haven't heard, he's pretty good at FIFA.
I don't know if he's going to get a better chance than that. First shot blocked, green time, falls back to a favorable position, right place, right time, right location, right player. Van der Sar with a beautiful, beautiful save.
And Nicholas is not the man you want to be playing against in this situation. He's bringing the keeper out, Manu. Nicholas, oh, what an intervention that is from Courtois. Huge chance. Nearly gives it away straight away. Right, this could be your last chance, Manu, and it could be your last gasp in the tournament. Are you going to do it when it matters? When you need to step up? Have you got someone?
No. Never.
To do the job, no, and you've given the ball away to a man who's been in this position so many times before, knows exactly how to shut games out, and he could score here. Courtois again with a Superman punch. This is insane, but as long as Nicholas has the ball, Manu is in real trouble. What can he muster up now? It's the last attack of the game. Don't lose the ball, Manu. Take your time. A draw is not a great result for either of them, really, but it's better than a loss, obviously. Thanks, Michael Owen. Here we go, back into the middle. Play it through the middle, yes. Chance, 1-2 maybe. Can he complete it? Could do! He's on the post! But the rebound's in! The rebound's in! And there could be one more chance
what
of
have
kickoff.
we just seen?
Insane scenes,
Talk
Michael,
about the build-up. Penetrating passes, quick movement, tiki-taka, hits the post, comes off the post, taps it home on the rebound.
There's some confusion here, though. There's something's happened here, because Manu looks very confused. Is that the full-time whistle on the goal?
I think he's happy about it. That was like a positive reaction.
The goal must have gone in and the whistle must have gone. We don't actually know right now. We're looking to confirm this for you guys. But Manu celebrating in that manner tells me he's got something he likes out of it, which a draw isn't actually great for him, to be honest, but it means Nicholas stays behind him.
I'd have to look at the head-to-head, but I think what this leaves him is a little leeway. If Manu Bashir was to draw against Vergang, be on 11 points. Let's say Nicholas wins 11-11. I just don't know what the next permutation steps
Well, we know
are
that
in
they
terms of the
just drew
head-to-head.
then, and when they previously played yesterday, Manu beat Nicholas, I believe.
If that's the case, then
No,
then
they
Bashir
drew.
would-
They drew both
oh,
times.
So then we have to go to another step down.
Where it will go to goal difference, and he gets it all very, that's the sort of job for people with better math qualifications than us.
Don't let me do live math on stream. We're gonna be in trouble.
But we will find out what happened there. In the meantime, we're here, RVP
And
legend versus
Damien
John.
beat Yilmaz.
Damien beat Yilmaz. That's massive.
Wow,
Honestly,
that actually
Brady,
changes the whole group again.
Do not
Damien
go
might
to
be
bed.
coming up.
Do
He
not.
might be doing it. Damien might do it, Spence.
Guys, in the words of David Gold, do not go to bed.
I would have never guessed it out of this group.
RVP legend as well has turned this round, by the way. We should talk about that. He was 2-1 down. He's turned it back round to 3-2, and I think it's going to end in this scoreline, which isn't great for John, but this is just a seeding match ultimately, unless he can get one here and make it level. He could do, He just might. Oh, it's beautiful. What a game. Huge draw there. There's such thing as a huge draw. So that leaves them level, 14 points each in that group. So again, anyone can still finish first or fourth in this group. It's crazy group C.
What a spicy finish there as well. Extra pass. We're giving you some drama. Elastico finish, open up the pitch.
We're going to relive this insane moment here between Manu and Bashir. Look at the time, guys.
So 1-2.
Literally the last second of the game. Off the post, rebound goes in, and then the final whistle goes.
If he doesn't get that rebound, he's got to feel so hard done in that game.
If you actually watch the animation they saw and the way the actual graphics went then, the whistle literally went as the goal went in, which is why we saw that Manu confusion. But we do believe it was a draw, which means Manu goes to 10 points. It means Nicholas goes to 8, which means the most Nicholas can finish on is 11. If Manu draws with Anders in the last game, he would also be on 11. It's all to play for still in Group D, and that's why they call it the Group of Death. No one wants to die easy, though.
I just can't believe that Damien has somehow got himself back into the mix.
This is another goal here. You'll see Vergang against PH Zin. Vergang doubling his lead there. And he's obviously through. He's going to have 21 points. And he could make it 24 if he wins his last game. Paolo Neto gets a late goal against Stokes. Again, that game is between two people that are leaving the tournament, but it is playing for pride, it's playing for placement in the group, and it's playing for no prize money, but you're going to look back on a tournament and think about where you finished, aren't you? How many wins you got, things like that.
It might be all a consolation at the end of the day, but this is the pinnacle of competitive FIFA. You want to go out full swinging, saying, I left it at least all on the virtual pitch.
And Paolo Neto's lost all 3 games he's played today, as has Stokes, so neither of them are going to want to go out without no wins today on day 2.
And you know what kind of fan I am of Paolo Neto. I took him to go deep in this tournament. I took him to win this tournament. He was my choice. I didn't want to go with the Vergang roller coaster. I knew all of you on the desk would be there. I think a couple guys might have, on our desk, also took Nicholas. And Nicholas is in a position right now where he's on the outside looking in.
So it's worth stressing this now. One thing we do know now about Group D is that Yilmaz and PH Zin are through. Okay, we know that to be true. They've got 12 points. Nicholas and Damien are both on 8. So the most they can finish on is 11. Chance here for Anders to make it 3-0. Of course he does. Look at him. He absolutely loves it here in Saudi Arabia. He's already got himself a major trophy in the E-Club World Cup. And imagine the scenes if he made it a little bit of a double and picked up an E-World Cup as well.
But I would like to add, because it's so important, especially considering in Group B, we've got the likes of Abamaka, which you don't want to go up against, got the hometown crowds. You got Tex as well leading that group. Those are the top 2 finishers. And now you got a lot of movement that could happen between Yilmaz, between PH Zin, and between potentially Manu Bashir, Nicholas, or Damien.
Yeah, someone's going out, and whoever it is, well, 2 people are going out, and whoever they are, they're going to be gutted, and they're going to be big losses to the competition, because that group is stacked, as we've mentioned before. This game is over. Goal difference could factor in for PhD. No, it can't, because he's already through. Against the question of where he finishes, though, because he could finish 3rd or 2nd in that group. We've seen one man really run away with this group, and I know we talk about him a lot, but it's a huge statement, because for Anders to be unbeaten in probably the most competitive group we've ever seen and have almost 10 points on 2nd place, if that's not a statement of intent, I don't know what is.
As it's got to be said, he's got merit. We're talking about the guy a lot, but he's earned it. He's already won 1 world title, E-Club. We saw that at the beginning of the campaign. Denmark got himself out of the group stage. Wasn't the most impressive performance. And then over the last couple of days, talk about doing the business, being focused, being dialed. I've heard your interviews. I've never seen somebody so upset winning games.
Look at the scenes here, because he looks almost exhausted, what he's been going through, and you can't blame him. You know, the amount of energy mentally, physically he puts into these performances is sensational, and you know, he looks the one to beat, along maybe with Tex and Strong. Stingray impressed me in the earlier session. You know, even Johnny actually should be in the conversation based on what he's done, maybe in a less tipped for success group, but you can only beat who's in front of you, Mike. And here we go. This is how Group D looks, so bear with us here. As I mentioned,
wow.
Vergang is loving life, 9 points clear of second place. We know he's won the group, and he's done it in real style, unbeaten thus far. Now, Yilmaz and PH both level on 12 points. They've won 3, drawn 3, lost 3. There's only one in between them on goal difference as well. Manu Bashour's the only one who can be caught, currently sitting in 4th with 10 points. He's lost the same amount of games as PH and Yilmaz, it's worth mentioning. The same amount of games lost as Nicholas as well. Nicholas has drawn too many. But him and Damien are both on 8 points. If they were to win their last game, they'd go up to 11. Manu Bashour plays the man who hasn't lost, Vergang, in the last match. So he could lose that and stay on 10, which would mean he would lose his place if Nicholas and Damien win. So Manu's not safe by any means.
And we talked about this many times earlier throughout the last couple of days with all the permutations and matchups and possibilities. So the bottom 4, 5, and 6 play against 1, 2, and 3. So none of them have direct matchups to overlap the other.
What I would say is working against Damien, though, is not only his goal difference, it goes to head-to-head before that. He's lost 5 games. So the likelihood of him getting through a head-to-head
He needs help.
is very low.
Help.
I think Damien needs to win, and he needs Nicholas not to win, and he needs Manu to lose. He could still go through, though. There's a lot of things to think about, guys. But all you need to know is Group D is not
Damien's
over.
got a chance. That's what you need to know. He's got a chance.
4th spot is open, and 2nd and 3rd are also open, meaning that only Anders is decided in top spot. We know he's going to play. I can actually tell you he's going to play. So he's going to finish top of Group D, which means he's going to play against 4th of Group B, which is D. Fernandez. He's got the unenviable task of going up against Anders Vergang.
We haven't had a group like this. From 2nd to 6th place can all move. They're that close.
Yeah.
They can all move. I know some of them already solidified their position, but they can still move with seeding.
And we've still got seeding up for grabs in Group C as well. We're going to obviously think about what that means and who's playing who tomorrow. We're going to have some unbelievable matchups tomorrow. Hopefully you've been with us and you've stayed with us today through the technical difficulties. Hopefully tomorrow will be smoother, but I tell you one thing that's definitely going to happen is there's going to be some ridiculous games of FIFA, and there's going to be some huge names leaving the tournament. I don't know who. I'll say one thing though, I'd be surprised if Anders leaves the tournament tomorrow. I'd be surprised if Tex leaves the tournament tomorrow. Maybe that's the only 2.
Tex has to play Group D.
It's true.
He's looked more consistent or more reliable than the players in Group D outside of Anders, who he will not be matching up with tomorrow. There's no possible...
No. I think they can't play each other to the final now, I believe.
Ooh.
I believe that is set in stone because Anders is finishing first now. I'll have to double check that. But either way, they're definitely not playing each other in the first knockout round. And obviously it goes to 2 legs. That's a huge factor. Who's going to benefit from that the most? The people that we know are through. Who's going to really enjoy that? Because Tex has struggled traditionally with one-legged FIFA.
Tuga.
Not here.
I think Tuga's got to be on your main list. I think he's probably the biggest beneficiary of someone that's switching into 2 legs, especially with how he outlasts you, how he adjusts game plans, how he pivots, how he pauses. The guy will pause the game maximum amount of times, talk to the coach, tactical adjustments, formation, substitutions. He does it all.
Well, obviously, we've got Group C to finish as well as Group D. There's a few things happening there that are more about seeding than placement in the group in terms of qualification. Johnny's taking on Paolo-Neto. Paolo-Neto is out, so Johnny's top of the group. You think Johnny's going to win that. He's going to win the group whatever happens, by the way, Johnny. He's 5 points clear of 2nd. Stokes plays RVP Legend. RVP Legend could still finish as high as 2nd or as low as 4th. Big game for RVP Legend, not a big game for Stokes. He's already out. K1 John and Oberon is the only game of 2 people that are still going to progress in the tournament. K1 John's on 14 points, Oberon's on 15. Winner of that will finish higher than the other one. So, players playing for seeding, going to define who they play and potentially their future journey in this competition. The Group D fixtures. Now, all of these are relevant. Every single game here is massive. Nicholas has to win. Okay, Yilmaz doesn't need to win, but he wants to finish 2nd, I imagine, because he's going to get a better draw. So I don't expect him to lie down for Nicholas. Damien versus PhD. Damien has to win. No other way about it. He has to win that game. PhD in exactly the same scenario as Yilmaz needs to win if he wants to finish second. Vergang against Manu. Vergang needs nothing. All this game can do is send out a message by getting the highest points total of any groups. He can be unbeaten, which is very, very rare. No one's done it actually in the FIFAe World Cup thus far. But he can also ruin Manny Bashour's life and take him out the tournament, at least for the next few days.
You took it there, okay.
I mean, Manu, what do you expect from Anders in that game? Do you think he's going to
He's not going to let up.
some fun with
no,
it?
he's not going to let up. That's not an Anders character whatsoever. And if you allow it, I'd like to revisit your question of two-legged players. Who's left in the competition that I really feel that benefits, if you allow
of course.
it. So I've already mentioned Tuga. I think you're right with Tex that that's going to be a situation that he's going to like. Oberon, the Italian.
Yes,
definitely. I definitely think that he backs himself in a two-leg versus playing through these group stages. I also am marking down Yilmaz, and then if Nicholas is able to get out, those are two players that are so difficult to beat over the course of 2 legs. We've already seen the success from Yilmaz. When he went down in that lower bracket in ECL, he hammered through that, including beating Anders in that competition. Over the course of 2 legs, Yilmaz is something to deal with. He's just got so much going on, and again, another player that can adjust. I also think he's played a little more nervy because he knows it's a single game.
Of the players you've mentioned there, a lot of them actually doing quite well already. The likes of Tuga, the likes of Tex. Nicholas is the one for me. If he can find a way, and it's not only in Nicholas's hands, ultimately, if Manu beats Vergang, big if, I know, but if he does, Nicholas is out and Damien's out. But if the stars align and Nicholas finds a wave, I'm going to say sneaking out of this group, because I don't think he's really done enough, he could then turn up tomorrow and just blow everyone away. It wouldn't be unlikely. It wouldn't be unheard of. He's got previous. He's literally done it before.
He's also grinded his way out of a lot of groups. We've talked about day 1's not looking good for Nicholas, or day 2's not looking that good for Nicholas, but he typically get himself out of the group, and then you don't want to see him in 2 legs. It's again, similar to Tuga. He's one of those players that adjusts, switches the pitch, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, very risk-adverse in many ways, and he's always going to be clinical.
Well, the stage is set for an unbelievable final game. Do not take your eyes off it. Stay with us till the end, guys, because Group D is up for grabs. There's a 4th spot, and right now there's 3 people's names on it. Those names need to be reduced to just 1. Will it be Nicholas? Will it be Damien? Or will it be Manu Bashour, who for me should be on more points? I think he's played better than his points total suggests. But at some point you've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to do it, and he's got the hardest game he could possibly have.
It's wild. You've got first place versus 4th place. You've got 2nd place going up against 5th place, and then you've got 3rd place going up against 6th place in this group.
We're underway here with Nicholas versus Yilmaz. Yilmaz on the ball, playing for seeding, playing to really knock out Nicholas from the competition. And ultimately, what a strike that is, hitting the woodwork there. Early doors from Yilmaz.
And maybe most important for Yilmaz is you move yourself up a notch. If you finish 3rd, you got to play Tex.
But also, if you think long-term for Yilmaz, he is someone that people have said could win this competition. And he could knock out Nicholas. And Nicholas is someone who should be scared of in the latter stages of this event. So there is real motivation for both teams here.
I would actually argue, and there's a lot of hypotheticals here, Tex would be relieved if Nicholas gets 4th and that he's sitting in that 2nd position where he doesn't have to match up against him 1st round.
Here is Nicholas. Can he break the deadlock? It was a strike there against the heels, I believe, of the defender. Obviously, once the other games get kicked off, we'll keep you updated on the action. But right now, this is the only game happening here in Riyadh. So we'll stay with it. It's Yilmaz on the ball. Oh, that's a dangerous pass there. Crossed his own goal. Yilmaz working the ball down this right side. Plays it infield. Nicholas seems fairly comfortable in letting Yilmaz have the possession here. Good defensive header back to Van der Sar.
Good idea. We saw that work as well for his partner in crime, Manu Bashour, before, trying to beat that Nicholas back line, timing the steps. It's so difficult to penetrate Nicholas with a lot of the quick passing or trying to pull players out of position. Sometimes it's good to lob those in for the knockdowns. Maybe even the secondary pass or the secondary bounce is sometimes important when you're going up with someone who's so structured defensively.
Can Nicholas make something happen here on this left flank? Cut out by his opposition. defender. Yilmaz back on the ball now. Huge game. And it's very interesting, Mike, actually, that the games aren't kicking off at the same time, because it does mean that there's a little bit of chance of some rubbernecking. I can even see Manu Bashir watching this game intently from his booth right now, because it does impact him. You know, if he goes into his game knowing that Nicholas hasn't won, it takes a bit of pressure off the lad.
I'm not sure that I've heard the terminology rubbernecking, but I'm going to adapt and use it. It's coming into, it's joining the vocabulary. I understand what it means. I wouldn't be surprised, though, like you said, there might be some pauses cued that are unnecessary just to see how games are playing out. Maybe a coach tapping you on the shoulder.
It's all part of the gamesmanship, really, isn't it? It's part of the options available to you.
There's nothing wrong with it. You might not make friends doing it. It's a little bit of a gray area.
Nicholas looking to make that grey area less grey by getting his job done and getting 3 points in the bag. And even though he's up against one of the best players in the world, Emre Yilmaz, you'd probably say he's got a slightly easier task than Manu Bashir does, who has to play Anders Verge. Here is Yilmaz, shot from a difficult angle. Van der Sar's not going to get beaten by that one.
Clever approach there. He was expecting Van der Sar to move for the cross, so he tried to challenge him on that near post.
I do wonder if at half-time someone gives Nicholas a little pat on the shoulder and says, look, your game's starting, none of the other games have started yet. Maybe just take your time here, because I know you can only take so long, but the only game happening right now.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I understand.
We have got one other match actually still going on from the previous round, which is Johnny versus Oberon. Johnny's 1-0 up in that one, but it's not over. They're having some connectivity issues, I believe, so we'll keep you updated on that one. With Nicholas Yilmaz, huge game for both people, because there's a good chance Yilmaz could be facing Tex right now. I don't think he wants to do that. What a game it would be, though, for us to watch. Here he is, Yilmaz, and it's in! And that's big. And that could be the goal that sends Nicholas back to Argentina with his tail very much in between his legs.
And that also opens up, if results were to stay this way, it's helpful for Manu Bashir. And it opens up the equation again for Damien. If he gets a win, if he upset PH Zin 11 points, Manu Bashir doesn't get anything off of Anders, he's gonna hop, skip, jump, leap, and get himself in 4th place.
And we're taking a look at that game right now. It has kicked off. Damien, PH Zin, 0-0 as things stand. Maybe an opening here for PH Zin if he can find someone in the box. Good tackle from Damien. Fair play to him, by the way, because a lot of people wrote him off before this group started. He came in with 1 point
today.
Exactly, he came in with 1 point, but he never gave up. He picked up 2 big wins today. He drew against Anders yesterday, which not many people have done, and it's ironic because he was the man to end his infamous weekend league streak at 535 to nothing. There's definitely history between those two, but we're going to jump back into the big one. Nicholas versus Yilmaz. I'll say that they're all big at this stage in Group D. Nicholas is in real trouble, though. Let's be honest, guys, in the chat, if you're watching this, did any of you have Nicholas to get grouped? Because if you did, you're either Mystic Meg or you're a liar. You're one of the two. Because I didn't have him. I did not have him down to get grouped. I'll tell you that for free. But then again, in a group of death, someone has to go. And whoever was going to go was going to be a big upset. I still didn't think it would be Nicholas, though.
You see Nicholas probing. Again, offensively, he's not going to be as fluid. He's not someone who makes an overload of opportunities or chances, but he's someone that is efficient, known for the defensive pressure play, micromanaging, just an array of different defensive looks. The problem is he's already given up a goal to Yilmaz.
He needs 2, minimum. He needs to win this game. A draw would not be enough. And he's running out of time. That's half-time already. We're going to jump back into the Damien PH Zin game, which is slightly earlier, just 20 minutes gone so far. Still 0-0 between these two. Damien needs a win as well, has to win this game as he attacks down the right-hand side. PH Zin is in a very similar position to Yilmaz. As things stand, Yilmaz's result would mean PH Zin finishes 3rd, which means he would play a young man called Donovan Hunt, aka Tex.
I don't think we can get a bad matchup for Tex, first one out.
Chance here for PH Zin to score! Down the throat of the goalkeeper, easy save in the end.
Top tier goalkeeper movement there. kind of baits him, steps out, brings him back, covers the middle. You have to be absolutely perfect there for PHN to convert from that opportunity. You just did enough with to buy time for the defenders to get into a position to offset PHN.
We're back underway in the Nicholas Yilmaz game. We'll join that as soon as this attack dies down, because that's 1-0 to Yilmaz in the second half, but further on than this game, so we can come back to this later. As PHN tries to get a goal, puts it into the box, dealt with by Damien. So we're going to jump over to Nicholas Yilmaz. Nicholas, I mean, this is a big... Oh, hang on. We joined at the right time. There's been another goal. And I think it's fallen for Yilmaz.
It has indeed. Inside the box, bit of a strange turn. It only seems fitting that Team Hullet, Ruud Hullet, converting, scoring, taking up space, galloping, long hair, always...
We're going to see that goal again because we kind of missed it, didn't we, as we came over.
I'd love to rewatch it.
This was Yilmaz getting into the box.
Just an extra pass.
Oh, a little bit of a fortuitous deflection. Nicholas not clearing his lines properly. He'll hate that one. Keeper beat it at the near post.
It's uncharacteristic, Spence.
It
Big
really
mistake, bad place to lose the ball in the virtual pitch, middle of the pitch, a lot of options. And again, taking up space, taking names, Ruud Hullet doing what he does best.
PHN to take the lead here, and he does! And Damien is in a problem area. And Manu Bashir-Vergang still has not kicked off. And it could be...
It might not matter at the rate that we're going.
Yeah, as it stands.
He's going to go in playing with house money at this point.
lose
Nicholas
it.
is losing, Damien's losing. They have to get points, otherwise Manu Bashir can go through with 10.
It's true. It's very true. And Nicholas, I don't know if you're listening to me, but this is where you have to step up. If you're going to win this FIFAe World Cup, who knows? This could be your last chance. You need to score. You need to score 3 goals in 30 minutes. If he does it, I think he's going to win the World Cup. If he does it. Because it takes such a comeback against such a good player. It will fill me with the confidence, and I'm sure it will fill him with the confidence that he's got enough to win the whole thing. But I don't know if he will, Mike. Needs a goal soon. Puts it back in the box. Looking for a header there. I just don't know if it's Nicholas's year. And I do wonder whether we'll see him come back again, because I feel like every year he comes so close. He's got to take it out of him, Mike. He's not getting any younger.
Can't retire. Not on a result getting grouped in the World Cup. I don't believe it.
Yilmaz looking to make it 3.
Oh,
well, I think
that's done. It's dusted.
we might have just said goodbye to Nicholas,
Because
guys.
Nicholas would need 4 goals as well. A draw doesn't do him anything. Doesn't do him a service.
He's got to score 4, which is unthinkable against a man of Yilmaz's quality. Who, by the way, hasn't won a game
And this is the Yilmaz we haven't been seeing.
Exactly.
We haven't been seeing this Yilmaz. This is the Yilmaz that won E-Champions League. Unstoppable, flourishing attack. A lot of momentum.
Nicholas doesn't score. Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, that tells me a lot. He's trying that speculative effort from there. I'm not sure we're going to see Nicholas progress, guys. Huge, huge upset. And Manu Bashir is licking his lips right now, because I think he's realised, unless Damien has a comeback against PHN as well, he's 1-0 down.
It's similar for Damien. A draw does nothing for him, Spence. He has to have a win versus PHN. Halftime 1-0, PHN leading.
A little bit more of a achievable task for Damien, though, at 1-0 down. We will rejoin that game when their second half gets underway. They're still at a break right now. But this is the stage. This is where we've been for the last few weeks. FIFA E-Club World Cup, where we saw RB Leipzig lift it. Anders, obviously part of that team with them. After that, we had the E-Nations, where Brazil made history. Back-to-back winners. Unbelievable scenes, an amazing comeback against the Netherlands that included Manu Bashir. And the Brazil team, of course, included PHN, who's in action right now.
And what moments we're witnessing? The comeback for E-Nations, back-to-back wins for PHN with Brazil. We've already seen Anders with Umit, E-Club, a week and a half ago. Anders, if he's able to carry that momentum here in a 1v1, if he goes double world champion 1 year.
We've certainly been gifted with some unbelievable moments here. I think we should probably jump into the Damien PHN game, because obviously we can jump back into this one if Nicholas starts doing a madness and scoring some goals, but the likelihood is it's Damien who's actually got a chance to progress in this group, which, by the way, would be one of the biggest stories we've had out of Riyadh so far. If Damien gets out of this group and knocks Manu Bashir out in the process, if I had my hat on, I'd eat it.
Whoa, what a challenge.
That was a massive interception there. Manu Bashir-Vergang still not kicked off. Take from that what you will.
What are you trying to say? Is this some gamemanship, Spence?
I would never say such a thing. My lawyer would never allow me. Damien on the ball. He needs a goal, and he needs it quick.
I think you said that he loves a gray area. He's keeping it gray.
I've got a grey area or two. Right, PH's in, trying to get us up the pitch here. He's 1-0 up. He's loving life right now. And this result is really important for him because Yilmaz is going to almost certainly beat Nicholas. If PH's in matches him, they'll be level on points. It will go to head, and that will define who plays Tex, which is mad. PH's in, every goal will help his goal difference, but it goes to head first. What we need to do, Mike, is we need to find out the results between PHC and Nicholas. Can you do that for me?
Say
please?
less.
Thank you.
I'm on it. Assignment understood.
Good lad. Gold star coming from Mike LaBelle. "30 minutes left between Damien and PHC. And if Damien can get 2 goals, he knocks Manu Bashir out of the competition, unless he beats the game. Chance here, massive chance for Damien, and he might look back on that one day and think, what if I'd scored that one? My life could have turned out so different, mother.
Spen, I got the calculations for you.
What were the results in their 2 games?
So Yilmaz beat PHN yesterday 2-1,
Okay.
and then he drew with him today.
So Yilmaz wins the head-to-head.
Yilmaz would win the head-to-head.
Off the post there from Damien. He's knocking on the door, Mike. Twice.
And he
in
needs
short
that.
succession.
He has to have it.
He's showing signs, though. He's showing signs. And I think Johnny has finally finished the game against Oban, or at least scored again, and win that game, which will mean he wins the group with 20 points. He's got another game to spare.
What? How does he save that?
Damien's still in this, though. Don't count him out. He could score a couple goals here, Mike. I think he's got the credentials. If you beat Anders, you've got the credentials as far as I'm concerned. And here he is, on the ball. Can he score? Need to do it soon, my boy. Is it now? No, gives the ball away to PHC. But as we now know the head-to-head record, we know this win won't be enough to avoid finishing 3rd for PHC, because we're expecting Yilmaz to win, Nicholas. 83rd minute, that is, 3-0. Yilmaz will finish 2nd, and PHC will play Tex in the next round, which is a great matchup.
Seeing PHC a little more possession play here, looking to see this matchup. I don't know that he knows that head-to-head. He probably does, coming into this match.
He also probably doesn't know the Yilmaz score. He's got to just win his game and just see what happens. Can we jump back into the Nicholas Yilmaz game just to see the dying embers of that? Because we're about to say goodbye to a legend here. Nicholas is going to lead the tournament. It's going to be grouped. No, you do not need to adjust your Twitch or television sets. That's what I said. Nicholas, 99FC, is leaving the competition with only 1 win out of 10 games. He might score here, but it won't be enough. Let's be honest, Mike. I don't care who you are. 1 win out of 10 games. You don't deserve to go through.
It's on you.
The game's the game, folks.
I've said this from early doors. If you can't finish in the top 4 out of a 6-player group,
and there it is. There's the scenes.
There's no excuses.
Guild's Nicholas does not progress. David Beckham's Guild, no less. But it is Ruud Hullit's Emre Yilmaz is going to finish 2nd in that group. And it's also going to mean that he's going to play Mark 11 in the next round, if you're wondering. So Emre progresses pretty convincingly, even though he's had not the best day today. This is a Johnny Oberon winner from Johnny. Look at the time, Mike. 4 seconds left on the clock, I think. And that made Johnny win 20 points. Oberon 15, still in 2nd. There's still 1 more game to play for them. That group's been held up a little bit. But Group D is getting closer to the finish. Damien needs 2 goals in 12 minutes, Mike. Is he going to do it?
I don't think so. I don't see it happening, but I love some drama if you can shake it up.
Get one now and just make it interesting. Oh, the keeper's done well.
He's just had that feeling that he's not going to make the pusher. He's had the chances, he's had the opportunities. The post went against him. Rebounds haven't been there. Great goalkeeper movement in a couple of instances from PHN.
5 draws for Nicholas. 5 draws and 1 loss.
We told you,
draws
will kill you in this tournament structure. It stayed true year in and year out.
PHC could double his lead here and knock out Damien in the process and essentially qualify Manu Bashir 7 minutes left here. Damien needs 2 goals. Vergang Manu Bashir still not kicked off. I feel like at
I
this
hope we
point
get a
he can kick it
camera
off.
of Manu Bashir at this point, because he's going to be celebrating.
See
He's gonna be celebrating.
See Nicholas in the bottom right here, Mike. Devastated. You've got to feel for the lad. He's come so close. He's lost finals before. He didn't get to the final this time. He's been grouped. And we do feel sorry for him. No one likes to see those scenes, of course. Legend of the scene. Unbelievable FIFA player. He's just in such a hard group, ultimately, is what cost him.
And similar to what Tex was saying earlier when he spoke to you, is he's not getting any younger. And the question is, how many more FIFAe World Cups are you going to have? How many more opportunities to become a world champion? And I'll happily go on record. I don't think anyone will disagree, but Nicholas is going to be in the FIFA Hall of Fame. They're joining the likes of August Rosemeyer, who's been on the broadcast with us. He's won multiple huge major events. We talked about the ECL. We've talked about some of the early days with E-Club.
And this game's over as well as Damien kicks it out in frustration. He loses to PHC. He exits the competition. Manu Bashir qualifies. Not necessarily. No, he's in 4th because the most points he can finish on is 13. And PHC and Yilmaz have both won. They've both gone up to 15. So he will be 4th
points in the
whatever
group.
happens.
10 points got you through.
He doesn't need to win against Vergang. This game is now irrelevant. The only thing that's interesting about this game now is Anders could finish on 24 points, which, by the way, would be the most points of anyone at any of the 3 finals here in Saudi Arabia. Of course, it's Anders that
I'm
does
going to give
it.
a shout out to Johnny as well. If Johnny wins his last game, sitting on 23.
No, he's got another game to play.
That's what I'm saying. If he wins his last game.
Oh, if he wins it, yeah. 23 is the second best.
Yeah, but it's still an impressive mark nonetheless. We haven't really spoken
incredible.
about Johnny nearly as much yesterday. We said we had more questions, and today he's had all the answers.
No, Johnny is probably the player of the tournament so far in terms of expectation, I would suggest. He's come out of nowhere to an extent. Not nowhere, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're talking about big,
especially
big...
with notoriety, names, accomplishments, accolades, because that's really important. We're not just saying this based on popularity or social media. We're talking about actual results. He doesn't have the same results as an Oberon. He doesn't have the same results as a Stokes or a Palinetto. And we should mention Stokes and Palinetto not going through in that group.
Do you think the fact that Johnny is so large means that it takes his brain longer to get the messages to
I
his
think
hands?
he's still growing. I don't think we've hit his maximum height.
I feel like
Johnny's what, 17 years old? 17 years young?
17 foot tall. In an industry where reactions are everything, I feel like that extra foot length of his arm is going to slow him down, you know? So
I think he needs a new controller. I think he has a special controller, actually. His hands are too big.
Doing it for the tall guys out there. He plays Paolo Neto in his last game, and Paolo Neto's out. So if he wins that, yeah, 23 points is no joke. He would have only lost 1 game, by the way, entire group stage, which is unreal, really, from the big man from Germany, coming in 27th in Europe, playing for Paderborn. Very, very impressive stuff. We're watching Vergang Manu Bashir here. If you just tuned in, we've seen a masterclass from the Dane, Anders Vergang of RB Leipzig, unbeaten in 9 games. If he wins this, he'll be unbeaten in the entire group stage. No one's done it in Riyadh over the last 3 weeks. He'll have 24 points, and he'll have a lot of people backing him to win the FIFAe World Cup. Incidentally, as he's going to win the group, we know who he will be playing in the next round, and it is the Portuguese Di Fernandes. He has to play Anders. Mark 11 will be playing Yilmaz, Tex will be playing PHZ, and Abu Maka will be playing Manu Bashir. They are confirmed, locked in, 100%. Chance here for Manu.
And I don't know if it's fair, but I do question. I'd love to know the hypothetical. What would have happened if Anders Vergang was old enough to compete? I would argue he's better a couple years ago than what we're even seeing now.
Johnny's continued where he left off with another goal. And this player is something special, I tell you. Johnny could go deep in this tournament. He's going to win the group. He's going to be playing Montaxa in the next round, if you're wondering. Oh, that's a lovely bit of play for Manu Bashir. Could he stop the Vergang train from going unbeaten the whole way through Riyadh Station?
Silky smooth step over, across the body. Did you have that one prepped? Is that off the dome? You're writing stuff down over here, Spence?
He is a trainer, isn't he? Listen, he is an absolute force of nature. But he's losing to Manu Bashir. And I would argue, even though the result won't change anything for Manu, it could change something in terms of his confidence, in terms of his mindset. He can be, I'm the guy who beat Anders. Did you see that? Remember me.
I would say general happiness, maybe outlook. It hasn't been a fantastic day.
He's going to progress only winning 2 games.
Yeah.
Unless he wins this one. 2 games he's won.
Yeah.
Chance to go 2-0 up against Anders though, and he does.
Ooh.
And Anders is not at the races right now. You forgive him if that's the case, because he's absolutely flying, doesn't need to win this game. But what's happening here? Look at him. Is he trying to give himself a bit of a pep talk here and say, go unbeaten, Anders, finish the job?
What I love so much about Anders, he takes every goal so personal. If he concedes, it's a problem. It's a personal problem. He's got an agenda.
But he's conceded 2 here. And Manu Bashir looking like the player that we thought he was right now. And he's in the ascendancy here, looking to get a 3rd. Johnny's 1-0 up against Paolo Neto. RVP Legends 1-0 up against Stokes. And Manu Bashir, as we know, is 2-0 up against Vergang. We've still got Oberon and K1 John to get underway as well. But obviously PhD and Damien and Nicholas Yilmaz have finished. Anders trying to make something happen here. Still going. Good defending from Manu. Let's take a look at one of the goals from the other games, and it is a goal in the Stokes RVP Legend game, and it fell to RVP Legend from Romania. Stokes 1-0 down. Already out of the tournament though. That game is only going to potentially affect where RVP Legend finishes and who he plays in the next round. Because actually, interestingly, in that group, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are all still up for grabs. And those oppositions waiting for them range from Stingray, Tuga to Burke Lion. I don't think you want to be playing Stingray or Tuga right now if you can avoid it. So you want to finish 2nd in that group if you can.
First or second. I mean, you're not going to top Johnny, I suppose, but
no.
Battle it out for that 2nd spot. By all means, avoid Tuga. Avoid. Put the caution stamp, send over the emoji, text message, phone home, text a friend, email someone.
Who would you want to play less, Stingray or Tuga?
I think it depends who you talk to. For me, I would prefer to play Stingray over playing Tuga.
Another goal for us to take a little look at here. RVP Legend, I think, is going to double his lead, and it's not great reading for Stokes. Keeper's let him down, though, there, if we're honest. We've got to have a little word with the keeper about that one after the game.
Keepers have been much more inconsistent today, comparatively, or maybe today and yesterday, comparatively to the previous event with the 2v2s. All we did is give out superlatives and compliments and build them up and talk about fantastic saves. It's just been a little bit different when we got into the 1v1 action. And to build off of what you said before, I would prefer to play against Stingray, because even though Stingray's a much better attacker than Tuga, I know what I'm going to get in a Tuga game. Stingray, there might be some variety.
Yeah,
a little more of that versatility.
He might open up a few times, give you an opportunity.
Yeah, there's a chance for me to disrupt something. That's how I feel, at least.
I was thinking about the fact that goalkeepers have been a little bit worse in the 1v1. Do you think there's anything in it that in the 2v2, because you've got 2 people, the person controlling the keeper has a little bit more time to do the keeper movement?
I actually have a separate theory where I think with some of the chase back, you can do simultaneously defending and moving of the goalkeeper with 2 actual people.
Yeah, exactly.
And that allows you to offset some of the shot-taking capabilities and the angles, and there's a little more of a double back, discount double check as the goalkeeper moves, scoots, and you're getting the slide tackle or the micromanaging or the double team or the trap, as you see Paolo Neto versus Johnny adding to it. Why not? It's just been the story of the day.
It's another game against a player who is out, Paolo Neto.
Paolo Neto does have a reply.
Johnny doing well. Paolo Neto getting one back. And we talked about the fact we've seen more goals in 1v1. We definitely have in every game. It's been going in left, right and centre. And the goalkeeper movement could be partly responsible for that. Manu Bashir, surely not. Cheeky effort there against a keeper off his line.
If he times that green, Spence, a little bit more movement, maybe that Travella angle, he could have passed, got that past the goalkeeper. It would have been on cue with us building the problems. or the mishaps or the goalkeepers being just a lot more inconsistent. And I'm surprised by this. We haven't really seen Anders get into this game. Fantastic defending thus far from Manu Bashor.
As things stand, RVP Legend is second in that group, meaning he'll not have to play Tuga or Stingray. But K1 John and Oberon hasn't started yet. I think they might be rubbernecking themselves because Oberon wants to know what he needs to do in order to finish second in this group.
And this is no disrespect to Berkey Lion or Montaxer, but I would happily take those matchups. Just there's two players that don't have the same amount of experience, and Montaxer really gave you a lot of those hot and cold moments where he looks good, looked a little bit offsetting. If you talk to him, he's not going to tell you he played his best FIFA on day one or day two. And I'm someone who always values and measures and looks at the metrics of consistency.
Chance here for Manu to make it 3 offside. Got another goal for you here, I believe, in the Johnny Paolo Neto game. Johnny
He doesn't stop.
making it 3-1. He's a player. He's a top-notch FIFA robot sent back in time from the future to take people down. That's why he's so tall, because in the year 2050, everyone's 6'8".
Is that confirmed?
That's what I heard, yeah. RVP Legend is going to win this one against Stokes. Stokes exiting the competition after the 8th round, unfortunately, for hashtag fans watching, but he's had a great year. He's won the EPL. He qualified in a year where he had to do it all on his own, to be fair to him. So, super proud of what he's done, and he's a legend in the scene, isn't he, Stokesy?
Yeah, I talked to Stokes before things got underway, and he's one of those players that has a decade of playing Tier 1 FIFA. So few competitors can say that. I think that he'll make a case when it's all said and done, but potentially also challenging for one of those Hall of Fame or some sort of... I think he needs one more big win, but the amount of years that he's put into the game and the sheer competition he's qualified for from all sorts of different variants as well. There's so much versatility there. He's even in an era before Ultimate Team.
Yes, exactly. And he's won the playoffs in Amsterdam, he's won EPL, as you mentioned, you know, he's had some big wins under him.
That's what I'm saying, he's one away, whether it's an E-Club or an E-Nations or an E-World Cup, you add that into the arsenal, add that as some trophy collections or some building or into the cabinet, shall we say?
There's something to be said for longevity in this game, because there's a lot of players that have called it quits or lost the hunger 4, 5, 6 years younger than Stokes is right now. And there is something to be said for that, because I know him well, obviously I've worked with him closely, and his grind is unrivaled, I have to tell you. His work ethic is unmatched. That's why he's so popular as a streamer, and he just loves the game. I think there's something to be said for that.
I just think there's so few players that have been around for the the FIFA Interactive World Cups, of course now the FIFA E World Cups. You've seen him in the E-Prem, as you mentioned. You've seen him competing in the ECL, World Cyber Games, ESWC. I could just keep naming some of the tournaments that some of the viewers at home have no idea that they even existed.
I think he
Stokes
played in
was
the
competing then.
I think he played in the Penny Farthing Cup, if I remember correctly, back in the day.
No, even if you date back to the Virgin Gaming, these massive events.
Yes. Yeah, over a decade ago, you're right. But he leaves the tournament, and we crack on with those people still in it. And Manu Bashor and Vergang are two players that will be progressing. And Vergang was so close to going unbeaten in the group stage. But it looks like that won't be the case. He's still going to win the group, though. Can he get one back here? Big save from Thibaut Courtois.
This has to be huge confidence boost for Manu Bashor. He's been better than Vergang.
He really has. And it's free. And he's going to win it. And questions will be asked at the RB Leipzig camp as to what exactly happened here. But it doesn't matter. It's still been amazing. 21 points is no joke. Anders is the real deal for sure. But Manu needed this, I think, just to lift him, because he's had some really tough games. And now he can go in a little bit more confident tomorrow.
This sets him up for a potential upset as well. Abumaki's got to beat the hometown fans, the crowd, the ambiance, but I don't think he's going to be too upset with that matchup.
Johnny, by the way, is 5-1 up against Paolo Neto.
He doesn't stop.
23 points he's going to finish on.
Ruthless.
Which is the most of anyone in the 4 group stages. Johnny. Fair play to him. Paolo Neto obviously out of the competition, so this game particularly you can't take too much from. But here's a couple of goals from Johnny. Composure coming out of his neck.
heel-to-heel ball roll, new introduction, walks around the goalkeeper, a lot of space to work with. Should be said, I think the biggest disappointment in the tournament, look at the cancellation, wow, and the extra pass. Palinetto, this is my guy to watch, somebody I built up. He looked fantastic last year, top 8, and
I think we've realised is
he
that
didn't play good FIFA at any point.
That is the curse though, isn't it? If Mike LaBelle says you're one to watch, you might as well just pack it in, go home.
Root against
start
them,
playing
right? Root against, Palinetto might send me a text.
You said USA. You just go, you're just too domestic biased, Mike. That's your problem, mate. Too much. You've got to start looking outside of the United States. Get yourself a passport and start
Here we
looking
go. Here
around.
we go.
Trust me, there's some other players out there. Just because you got Messi now. Right. And just trying to get one back here.
Yeah, Palinetto, I'm looking back. Most disappointing performance, not just for him, but in general. I think of all the competitors, the expectation. He wasn't good offensively, which is something we always compliment. He conceded a bunch of goals defensively. It didn't click at all. Never got into a rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 48 hours ago, or 72 hours ago now, he won the E-Nations. And that game's over here. Manu Bashir has done the unthinkable. Anders Vergang is human. He can lose. He has lost to Manu Bashir, although it was a game that didn't matter for Anders, so I'm not sure we can really count it as a loss, Mike.
Usually I'd agree with you. I think Anders might have lost a little motivation there, but Anders is also one of those guys that dissects his gameplay with such levels of integrity, and he's such a critic of how he plays and how he performs that I don't think you'd be happy about that. It's not how he wanted to send off or close out his day, but at least he's topping the group. I think he looked a little bit mentally exhausted. I'm not looking for excuses here, but even after the previous round, we saw him taking these breaks in between each of the fixtures.
Yeah, there is his mum, Layla, who we talked to recently. Serious contributor to Anders' success. And I'm sure that's the case for a lot of FIFA parents. Had to sacrifice an awful lot to give Anders the opportunity he's had. She recognised his talent early. You've got to give her a lot of credit for Anders being here, really, haven't you?
I mean, it's incredible how good he is at FIFA. Again, we've never had a competitor coming into the competitive scene with this much momentum, this much a hype, this much build. We had the undefeated streaks that we always talk about, but we said that he'd be the best player in the world 2 years ago, and then the following year, but we just couldn't see it in action. And the fact that he's been able to take that little chip on his shoulder and perform in a LAN environment immediately, you have to give him so much credit. Just a hand clap all the way around. Also, shout out to RB Leipzig, obviously picking him up, working with Daniel. I think all of that works. Being around the world champion, and somehow he's getting more looks, more exposure, and probably higher expectations than even Omen, who we're not going to see at the E-World Cup. Didn't qualify.
Anders could really steal the headlines here with a double win. Now that is over, that group now. The group of death is finished. No more.
Finito.
Kaput. Finito. And that's how it looks. Anders wins it with a loss, but a very convincing performance. 21 points, 6 points clear of second place, which is Yilmaz. And that is important because by not finishing third, he avoided Tex. PH then has to play Tex, who finished on the same amount of points as Yilmaz, but had an inferior head-to-head record. Manu Bashir ends actually on 13 points, which is a good total in the end. Nicholas and Damien do not make it through a very difficult group. Nicholas actually winning less games than Damien at this tournament in that group, so I don't think he can have too many complaints. But that group is done and dusted, which are both words that begin with D. That is Group D done. Group C, though, is still very much alive because I don't think K1, John and Oberon has even kicked off yet. So it's pretty much like we're going to have one game left to present to you guys to finish things off. It can still have impact because I'll read you some matches I know are happening, Mike, and you can give me one word to describe each matchup, okay? We know that Abu Maka, local hero, is playing Manu Bashir.
Offensive.
That is an offensive matchup.
Manu Bashir, just to give you a little more of a metric to measure with this, leading goal scorer in Group D, in the group of death.
It's going to be a great match. We know that Tex is playing PH Zin, the man who won E-Nations a couple of days ago.
Championship. I really rate PH Zin. I think he's fantastic. Tex is due to make a run. Never got out of the group stage.
He's done very well indeed. Mark 11, the Aussie, who's still alive and well, is playing Yilmaz, Emre Yilmaz.
Optimistic. Mark's never really been able to push. He gets out of the group, but he's never made one of those deep pushes.
There he is on screen right there, giving a little cuddle to his teammate, Manu Bashir, who was in the same group as him, of course. And then Fernandez, D. Fernandez of Portugal, has to play Anders. Has he got any chance? What percentage chance would you give D. Fernandez out of 100 to win that game?
12.5%.
That's not bad, to be fair. I'll take those odds if I was D. Fernandez and run with them. So that's games we know are happening. We also know that the winner of Group C will be Johnny. You can see it here. This group's still open. There's one more game to play, but only so much can change. Johnny's won this group, 23 points.
But
what
again,
a player, what a man.
29 goals for Johnny.
He's
I just told you that Manu Bashir was able to lead Group D with 24.
Unreal for Johnny.
29 goals.
And we know who he's playing. He's playing Montaxa from Italy. Okay, it's a German versus an Italian. Big game there. We don't know who's second, third, and fourth yet, because if you see, Oberon and K1 John have got to play each other. If K1 John wins that, he definitely goes above Oberon, and he may even go above RVP Legend. We have to check the head-to-head for that one. If Oberon wins it, he definitely finishes second. Second place will play Berkay Lion instead of Tuga.
That's a big
difference.
difference. That's a huge difference. If you're Oberon, you need to come full focused here, fully dialed into that match. If you can move up a little notch, it just gives you such a better run, at least on paper. Again, at the end of the day, all of this is still what it looks like on paper. We never know how someone's going to come tomorrow. They have another reset. Are they going to perform? Is it going to be a good day in the office? Are the FIFA gods on their side? Are you blessing those sticks? Do you have the special sauce in the hands?
I had some of the special sauce at lunch, and it was too spicy for me, I'll tell you.
That was some curry sauce.
Stokes is out. Paolo Neto is out. All the best to both of them, of course. They weren't quite able to compete with the top four names. Actually, 7-point margin between 4th and 5th place there, and that could still go higher as well with the final game. So just one game remains. I can tell you Johnny beat Paolo Neto 6-2. Mad. K1 John versus Oberon is our final game. What's been a mammoth day. Let us know if you've been watching us the whole time, guys. Is there anyone out there that's been with us? Because we did have some technical difficulties, nothing we could do about them, of course. But if you stayed with us, fair play to you, because it's past midnight here in Riyadh. But we have been treated to some unbelievable FIFA, and it's all setting up the storyline nicely. Tomorrow there's going to be fireworks, I'm telling you. There's going to be some big surprises. There always is at this level of FIFA. These were the round 10 results from Group D. Nicholas, in the game he had to win, unfortunately, lost it fairly convincingly to Yilmaz. Damien also had to win. He was beaten, although a slightly smaller scoreline against PH Zin. And then Anders, weirdly, lost 3-0 to Manu Bashir, but we're not sure about that one because I think Anders was maybe already on the beach, as they say, thinking about the next round.
I don't want to take away from Manu Bashir's success there in that game, though, that result. It's the only loss that Anders took, but Manu Bashir was clean, crisp, offense, smooth, silky, over the top, through balls, whipped in crosses, great defending, big interceptions, counterattack was on point. I definitely think it makes someone like Abamaka maybe have to do a little more research in that game.
And that's going to be a great game.
The room's going to be out of control, absolutely out of control. How is Manu Bashir going to handle that? We haven't seen that happen. It's not been part of his competitive career.
Well, that's something that you just can't allow for. The Saudi Arabian crowd, when Abu Maka's been playing, the roof has been lifted off this place. It's been absolutely unreal. Yeah, literally.
I can't hear myself talk.
And Manu's got to deal with that tomorrow. And if Abu Maka gets through that one, someone else has got to deal with it. And they could be the difference. They could be the 12th man. They could get him through to the final, because I really think that is a huge difference maker and intangible here in Riyadh. But we've got one game left, guys. That is the stage. There, the booths, as you can see, most of them empty now. It's just K1 John, the free agent from Egypt, who needs to play Oberon, who's not in his seat right now. So I don't think it's going to start straight away, but we're going to have a look at the top goal scorers in the tournament. Interestingly, Manu Bashir only just got out the tournament, out the group stage, sorry. Second top goal scorer in the whole thing.
And also interesting, Johnny and RVP Legend are in the same group. That group just scored for fun. There wasn't a lot of defense going on in Group C.
Johnny, really the story of the show for me so far. He plays Montaxa in the next round. For me, if I look back on Manu Bashir's games, I watched him intently. He had a win in his first match yesterday, then he drew 3 in a row. The first 2 of those draws, he conceded in the 90th minute. So he could have been on 10 points after 4 games. Instead, he finished on only 13 points total. So if he can just find a way, and over 2 legs, that could be the thing that does it. The thing that makes him turn those draws into wins. he's still one to look out for. I wouldn't write him off just yet.
I don't think I've ever written him off. And to build off of your point, or to echo your point, a couple of those results go differently. He would have finished second in Group D. Clear.
There's only 2 points between it. In the end, it's just Anders who had the big lead.
And with both those games you're talking about as well, one of them was against PHN, the other one was against Yilmaz. So not only would he have increased his point tally, he would have knocked down theirs.
We saw in the E-Nations, didn't we? A lot of the teams coming out of, I think it was Group B, ran deep into the tournament. I think they had 2 in the Final 4. We could well see that with Group D here, couldn't we? We could see, obviously, Anders go deep. We could see Manu go deep. Yilmaz could go deep. FIHSIN certainly capable, though he has to play tech. So there's no reason to suggest that quite a few Group D players could end up in the latter stages of this tournament. K1 John and Oberon is very nearly kicked off, so we'll get you that action very soon. Don't leave us yet, because that game has huge ramifications on who plays who in the next round, and that all links to every single matchup and who's ultimately going to win the event. Now, we're talking about Tex. He was third in terms of goals conceded, top defenders, or joint second, actually, you could say, with Virgo. Interestingly, there's 2 players that we talk about their attack so much, but so good defensively. But Stingray, top defender.
That's the surprise here. It makes sense of how he got his 21 points. We always build up Stingray as being a little more sporadic. Doesn't have a coach back there as well. Maybe carrying that with him. He didn't like that Zach Moore went to Tex. Switched up some alliances.
Known for their attacking, but smashing it defensively.
Yeah. Three players we would describe as attacking players, but I would say that Tex has always been known as someone who can play defense. We just appreciate, and he's had so many moments, especially coming into the scene, FIFA 19, blowing up, destroying, dominating, impacting, giving you meta, giving you these special key sequences of skill move variation that we talk about those. But defensively, he's always been solid. Game management's always been there. And again, you won't win titles, you won't win events, you won't get that extra hardware without being able to slow up a game, change the tempo, control rhythm, make big defensive stops.
Oberon picking up a loose ball here in our final game of the day. We are underway. K1 John versus Oberon. Oberon in the red, K1 John in the black strip. We're not going to be going from game to game now, folks. This is it. It's the final one. And it does mean something. It will impact the round of 16 fixtures.
Well, if you're a fan of the Italian,
here we go. Is that onside?
I think he's offside. It's coming back.
I was going to say, if that's onside, then
maybe
my auntie's a bicycle.
Can we watch this back? Okay, we got to reset. If you're a fan of the Italian Oberon, this shifts his potential matchups dramatically, because you don't want to go up against Tuga or Stingray. I think all day you take Berkey Lion, same with Montaxer, make a handshake deal.
The big thing about this game, because it's kicked off late, Oberon knows what he needs. Oberon knows to avoid Tuga, well, he has to win the game. A draw's not enough. RVP Legend currently has second spot, 17 points. That's locked in. He's not moving. Oberon's on 15. Win it, you go to 18, you finish second. You avoid Tuga.
That's got to be the game plan. It's got to be in his headspace. And you go back to, again, two-legged FIFA, which he's one of the players I marked. I gave you 5 names that I believe that are not only in the competition, but left in the competition, that format suits them a little bit better, caters to them, if you will.
Chance here for Oberon, looking to get through the box, or maybe a free kick on the edge of the box here. Decent area. What's he going to try here against K1 John? 20 minutes gone, hits it! Saved over the bar there. Don't see a lot of them hit direct these days. Nice to see, refreshing. Oberon working it. He is currently a point above K1 John. K1 John can go above him with a win. Potentially, depending on the head-to-head record of RBP Legend, K1 John could go from 4th to 2nd.
What's interesting about that is that K1 John actually has the head-to-head. He beat RVP Legend on day 1, and then they drew today.
So if K1 John wins this game, he will go 2nd, and actually Oberon will end up 4th. And that's what's
Wow,
mad about this.
what a shift.
The only thing we know for sure is that
Johnny-
RVP Legend is not finishing fourth.
Oh, I was going to say, the only thing we know for sure is Johnny is first in the group.
Johnny's first, and RVP Legend can only finish second or third. He can't finish fourth.
Correct.
So RVP Legend will not play Stingray. He's either playing Tuga or Berkay Lion, guaranteed. 0-0 in this game. As things stand, RVP Legend will play Berkay Lion. Tuga will play K1 John. Still a bit of movement on that. Half an hour gone. Oberon seems to have the lion's share of possession here. Haven't seen K1 John really get into Oberon's half just yet. A draw doesn't do anything for K1 John. He has to win the game. A draw doesn't move him any higher. Doesn't really do anything for Oberon either.
I was going to say, draw doesn't help anyone in this equation. Surely they're going for it. Might wait till the second half. If it stays 0-0, 50th, 60th minute, start taking a little more gambles, some risks, some substitutions.
You're seeing quite a lot of carelessness from K1 John for me. He's struggling to deal with Oberon at the minute. Oberon once again gets the ball back here. Oberon, one of the 6 players that qualified for all 3 World Cups here in Riyadh. Pretty unbelievable.
I'm sure he'd love to build on the results, exceed in the E Club. They did okay. They didn't go above expectation. Group stage was a little bit sloppy. E Nations, Italy looked good, top 4. Now if he can build onto that, maybe take home another trophy, get himself into a finale.
Here's a question for you. How many of the 6 guys that qualified for all 3 got out the groups in all 3? Anders did, Oberon has, Mark 11 has. I need to remind myself who the other 3 are. And that's
Tuga, who has not.
Tuga did not get out of groups, no, 2 of them, of course.
I don't think Palinetto wasn't in an E Club. Tex did not.
Abu Maka?
Well, Tex didn't make actually the E Nations.
No, Tex wasn't, Tex wasn't in all 6.
Abu Maka, yeah, he got out. He got out.
Oberon's
E
one
Club,
of
he
the
looked
others.
good. E Nations, he looked good, even though he wasn't the main rotation player there.
PH Zin?
They all got out.
PH Zin did?
All 6 got out of everything. No groups.
No, Tuga didn't.
Oh, outside of Tuga.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Right, half-time in the final game.
Not a lot to talk about in that first half.
It'd be nice of them to send us off with some action, wouldn't it, rather than a 0-0.
That looked like a late night game. These 2 were sleeping in that one. A lot of possession play, but no opportunities.
Both these guys have made it out the groups, but they are playing for placement here. And even though a draw doesn't really suit either of them, we don't know what they're thinking in terms of who they want to play.
Surely they know that a draw is not
But maybe they want to play Stingray.
Nah, I doubt it.
Maybe there's something about the matchups they like. Maybe they've done their homework. Maybe Oberon thinks they don't know what I'm like over 2 legs. I'm a different animal. You know?
But neither of these guys would be, well, actually, I was going to say Stingray wouldn't be the matchup. Tuga's more the rotational in this.
Well, for K1 John it is right
Yeah,
now. Right now,
yeah.
K1 John is playing Stingray. It's not something he wants, I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe there's something we don't have on the paperwork. But again, for me, coming from a pro perspective, I would much rather play someone in a big stage matchup that does not have experience. I can lean into that.
Oberon trying to break the deadlock here. Taking his time though, I'm not going to lie, neither lads look too desperate to attack.
Passive,
Which is interesting.
especially compared to how they played earlier, especially even more so with K1 John. Oberon has a reputation of sometimes being a rush player, sometimes being a little more slow and methodical. He varies his gameplay, but I don't think that many people would describe him as offensive. Maybe balanced would be the best way to talk about Oberon. And he doesn't pedestal players. Does a really good job of mixing it up versus a variety of oppositions.
Looking at the tournament as a whole, Mike, because this game so far has been pretty awful. Who
Tell
do
me
you
how
think?
you really feel,
So,
Spence.
I mean, obviously we did our predictions before it all started, but now we've seen the group stage. Give me 2 names you think will win this based on what you're seeing.
Anders looks terrifying. I think if you watch any FIFA maybe outside of his last game versus Manu Bashir, you do not want to see Anders. And I actually think Tex is back into that conversation. And unfortunately for Tex, he's got to play out of Group D.
Chauncey, big save there for the goalkeeper of Oberon to stop K1 John from taking the lead. Yeah, I think a better idea would probably say, give me two names, or one name that isn't Anders or Tex.
I was going to say Anders and Yilmaz are the two guys that I probably would have taken, actually, as maybe the favorites coming out of the same group.
Not Johnny.
Johnny's the biggest surprise of the tournament. He's made me a believer, but I'm looking forward to now. I haven't seen him in the two legs. We're going to have a shift in the format.
He finished on more points than Anders. He lost one game, drew 2, won 7. He won his last 4 in a row.
He's the top goal scorer.
He's top goal scorer. I think it's an insult to not put Johnny up as a favourite. You could argue his group wasn't the toughest group, of sure. Okay, I hear you, I do. But you can only beat who's in front of you.
This might sound strange, but I don't have enough track record of seeing him face adversity. Not even at this tournament, just in general as a competitive or a pro FIFA player. I like to see that battle back. It's so important. It's why we give a lot of credit to the likes of Nicholas, who of course did get eliminated, or the likes of Tuga. We've seen what they display. The likes of Tex. We've got a lot to measure. I'm a guy that goes with logistics and percentages. I like to take an objective viewpoint while I add my subjective viewpoint.
It's basically you're sitting on the fence is what you're saying.
It's 1 a.m.
It's
what you get at 1 a.m.
You can tell. We're nearly done, guys. Right now, these guys are giving us the worst game we've seen in Riyadh to finish things off. They made us wait for it.
We got one shot, Spence. We got one shot.
They didn't kick it off. And now they're just sending us to sleep here. Goalkeeper, though, with a big save. Come on.
I'm happy about the pause being cute. Someone go for it. I'm telling you, a draw. As we keep saying, we're going to reiterate. We'll be a broken record. It's fine.
If anyone's going to go for it, surely it's K1 John. He can, you know what he can do here? With one goal, he can go from 4th to 2nd. Yeah, that's massive. He can go from playing, I mean, no disrespect here, but he can go from playing Stingray to Berkay Lion in one goal because Oberon hasn't scored.
But you can make the same argument for Oberon. Again, I know he's in 3rd, but you can get yourself into 2nd. There's a lot of value there in terms of who you're avoiding. I'd much rather play, again, Montax or Berkay Lion. Give me one of those games.
Yeah, right now he's playing Tuga. If you finish the
K1
second.
John, no, K1 John is 2. No, you're right. You're right. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oberon at 3rd would have Tuga in 2nd.
Exactly.
You don't want that. You can't want that. It won't be an entertaining game.
No disrespect to Berkay Lion, because he could obviously win this matchup. But if it's between Tuga, Stingray, and Berkay Lion, I know who I want to play, and he's a lion called Berkay.
And Tuga's poised to make a run. He wasn't good in the E Club. He wasn't good in the E Nations. He can't be happy this far with these events, and now he's into the 1v1.
It's worth stressing, Berkay Lion finished on 13 points, right? Tuga was on 19, Stingray 21, 6 and 8 points more than 3rd place Berkay Lion. So it's not just, we're not just saying, oh, because Tuga's been around the block and we know Stingray, etc., that Berkay Lions, we're looking at the numbers here, guys. There's 8 points between them. Oh. Nearly a goal there from Oberon, which would have got him that matchup against Berkay Lion instead of Tuga.
He's still sitting far back. Give us a press. Any sort of press.
I think K1 John is almost playing for last attack. Keep it in 0-0 and then just go for it. Because he's got to. If he lets this game just sort of whimper out a 0-0, it's a real shame because he could change from 4th to 2nd with one goal. I want to see you push for it. I want to see you work, baby. Come on, Oberon. Give us something. I'm not cheering on Oberon, by the way. I'm just cheering on whoever's got the ball at this point. If he loses it, I'll cheer on K1 John.
I don't know if Oberon's had a shot. Seen a couple opportunities.
He had the
from
wide
K1
shot,
John.
didn't he? He hit it wide earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, K1 John's
not
come
a good
closer.
shot.
He's had less of the ball, K1 John, but he's used it better. 13 minutes left on the clock. Late tackle, advantage play. He's going to come back for the free kick for Oberon. Can he turn this into something?
Surely going short with a recycle.
Thing is, a goal for Oberon is so big for K1 John because it means he has to score 2. And there's no time for that, really. So this is the time to do it, Oberon. Get yourself 2nd spot. Or can K1 John go and do it? Whoever wins this game finishes 2nd. If it stays like this, neither of them finish 2nd. And it stays with RVP legend, who, if you actually looked at the group stage, you'd probably say deserves it the most.
If you're watching this, you think it doesn't mean anything to either of them. There's a lot of movement that could happen. It's valuable movement if you look at these matchups. A lot of space to work with, though. Okay, never mind.
Just constant ball interceptions and tackles. Nothing really getting to the business end of the pitch. Could this be the moment? K1 John bursting through.
Oh.
Big tackle from Oberon, saving himself from a matchup with Stingray potentially. Oh, could it be? Ref had something to think about there. No decision from the ref. K1 John stays on the ball. 5 minutes left now. Oberon will be the happier of the two with this draw, but he'll still be playing Tuga. He's got a numerical advantage here. Back post is open. Cross it in and win the game. There it is. Oberon may have just secured himself second position, and Berkay Lion will be his matchup. K1 John will have to play Stingray, and RVP Legend will be playing Tuga.
I think RVP Legend is the big loser in this one. I mean that respectively, but to have that movement, to drop down and get that Tuga matchup, I'm telling you, you don't want to see Tuga. Not in a two-legged affair. And Tuga's got to be so unhappy based on his 2v2 performances that he takes a lot of pride being a leader on those teams, not getting those results. I think he's more dialed, more focused, more flexible than he's probably ever been. We talked about it a lot.
I've seen him in the gym. He is flexible, trust me. He can move, that lad.
You would also think, with watching the way that Tuga plays on the virtual pitch, that on the actual pitch, he would also be extremely simple, structured, but he's good at the skill moves to give you a little bit of that razzle-dazzle, something that makes it sparkle.
He lost his first 2 games, Tuga. We thought it was over for him. Then he went on, only lost 1 of his next 8, 19 points. It's a decent finish. Oh, hello. We finally got some action.
Offsides.
Don't be offside.
I think it's coming back, Spen.
Don't be. Oh, that's a shame. That would have been good for the neutral, but alas, it's over. Oberon clinches second. K1 John finishes 4th. But let's be honest, he'll probably be happy to get out of the group after losing his opening 2 games. So it is a win for Oberon, a loss for K1 John, 18 points for Oberon. So I can finish off the games here. We know that K1 John plays Stingray. We know that RVP Legend, plays Tuga. And we know that Berkay Lion goes up against Oberon. So we have all 8 of our last 16 matchups secure. Oberon happy with that one. Both players progressing. Let's not forget, we're not seeing an elimination of anyone here. We're just seeing a maybe tougher matchup for K1 John. So, Mike, it's been a ridiculous day of action. A long day, but we have been rewarded with some massive results, some big upsets. Let's remind ourselves exactly the lay of the land. Group C and D are finished. Johnny, story of the day for me, 23 points, unbelievable, most points anyone got. He finishes top. Oberon, second, 18 points. RVP Legend, third, 17 points. Very good goal difference though. And K1 John actually gets through with a negative goal difference, 14 points for him in 4th. Paolo Neto and Stokes unfortunately leave the tournament. Group D, Vergang, Anders, of course, won the group, 21 points. Emre Yilmaz and PH Zin make it through 2nd and 3rd, 15 points each, but better head-to-head record for Yilmaz. Manu Bashir squeezes in on the last day, 13 points. Nicholas and Damien leave the tournament. So, in no particular order, I can tell you, these are our last 16 matchups. Stingray will play K1 John. Tuga will play RVP Legend. Berkay Lion will play Oberon. Montaxa will play Johnny. Abu Maka, a local hero, that's going to be lively. He plays Manu Bashir. Tex plays PH Zin. Mark 11 plays Emre Yilmaz. And finally, D. Fernandez has the unenviable task of taking on a man who goes by the name of Anders Vergan. Mike, what's your pick of those fixtures tomorrow?
I think must watch. I want to see if Johnny can carry the same energy. We built him up. He's been fantastic over day 1 and day 2. I think the hometown matchup, Abamaka going up against Manu Bashir.
That's my favorite.
I just know there's going to be a lot of goals. And I like goals, and then I know the energy in the room is going to be different. And I heard that they're packing everything.
Yeah.
That was the rumor. That was a word on the street.
It's
the
going to be
Riyadh
amazing.
streets.
Listen, thank you for watching us, guys. This has been a heck of a day, but another classic in FIFA esports history. 2 days down, 2 to go here at the FIFAe World Cup in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Make sure you join us tomorrow because it's elimination football. The prize pot doubles every single round. Who's going to go through the final day? Find out tomorrow. We'll see you then.